Welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
A happy Monday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports. We appreciate everyone listening live on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, on TuneIn, on iHeartRadio, on Apple Music. Thank you to those tuning in live on YouTube, or for those listening to us on the podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Tom Gazzola, Matt Iwanyk with you here on this fine Monday. Joining us, as he does most Mondays, we got Maria McCourt from the Ranch, as well as the VIP Golf Show, which we are getting closer to season
7.
7, yeah.
7. Didn't know if it was 7 or 8. Season 7 coming up here on Edmonton
flies,
Sports Talk.
7 years already. That's crazy.
F1 and the VIP.
It's there. You're good.
Yeah. That's what I watch and listen to.
Oh, for you. I was
How do
thinking
you not catch on to this?
Well, I thought, like we were saying, he's got his show coming.
You wake
and
up at 6:13
No, I
every
don't.
morning on Sundays, and you do the same thing. I thought that should have been like, oh yeah.
I'm known for waking up at 6 in the morning.
Yeah.
Just voluntarily on a Sunday. Yeah, I'm just going to wake up at 6 in the morning.
He does.
I thought you were dropping a new show on EST, that there's an F1 show.
No.
Thank you. That's
No,
what I
thought you were saying.
I didn't think it was like for your watching pleasure or whatever. I thought it was something with the station. Or I thought you were doing something F1, or you're a big fan of F1 or something.
right.
You love Formula. Huh?
No, I bash Sean Gager all the time for being a fan of that stuff. I said, why don't you just go set up a lawn chair beside Henday and watch cars go by? It's the same thing.
Maybe he does.
Yeah, well.
Actually, that sounds pretty good. Our video's frozen, so you'll probably just have to delete the video and put it back on. Mark Rodgers also with us here today. Back on the hangout of CKUA as well as CJSR. We will get into your metal cruise later in the show, because I really am fascinated by the metal
stories.
Cruise. He's already booked
For next year?
Hotel, just the hotel part.
He's keeping options open.
The
but
cruise tickets don't become available to survivors. They call them survivors.
Oh.
So whoever was on the boat previously gets the first crack at the next round.
Yeah.
So those are survivors, and that email doesn't come out till April or something like that. So anyways.
And it is something that is, you survive it.
I did survive.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a solid 4-day stretch. 4-day stretch at the end of January.
Okay, I have a lot of questions about this cruise, because you told me about a ballet on this thing. You told me about some Finnish metal.
So it's 70,000 tons of metal.
Yeah.
And it's been going, for a good stretch. But there's 60 bands.
Yeah.
They all play 2 sets. So it's 4 days, and there's 4 stages. So there's 120 shows. So you kind of have to pick and choose. And they've got a cool app that, has all the scheduling, and you can choose on where you want to go. And Swallow the Sun was the Finnish band that had the ballet.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did have 2 sets, and one was on the Friday night at the theater stage, which has like 400 or 500 seats. It's like a legit theater.
Yeah, yeah.
And the boat was getting a little rocky, and I was pretty seasick on Friday night at about 8 o'clock. Well, because I was gonna try to come on and do a hit with Reed. And I couldn't get the internet to work very well on the boat. And then I was getting seasick at the time. So I heard from an experienced cruiser though, Alex from Mississauga. She was like, "This is like, I've gone on a bunch of cruises, and this was the worst it's ever been."
Really?
Yeah. So I got sick on a boat right around the corner from a meet and greet. There's a band meet and greet.
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to get back to my room and not get sick. And I like turn the corner, and I'm like, burp. And there's just around the corner is like Hammer Fall, like signing autographs with the band, like, with the fans. And I'm just like embarrassed and like, oh my God, the guy's like, just go to your room. This happens all the time. No big deal. And I'm like, I'm not drinking, man. I'm just seasick. And he's like, yeah, no, just shut up and go to your room. And I'm like trying to help out. I'm like putting chairs up so nobody walks. It was really, really bad. But that was on the Friday at 8 o'clock. Then my favorite band, Unleash the Archers, played at 2:30.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, okay, I got a few hours to like get recovered. So I went to the room. My cabin mate, Bryce from Chicago, comes in. I'm just like, I'm like, yeah, I got seasick. And he's like, oh no. So I'm like, just kind of like, I'm kind of glad he came into the room, because it got me up, kind of got me moving around a bit. So by 1 o'clock, I was ready to go. Got a little bit of food, got to the stage, and I saw Unleash the Archers. Yeah, like 2:30, 3 in the morning. And
Wow.
they won a Junos were last night. Anyways, that was one of the, and then they sang on Northwest Passage, which is like a super Canadian song, and Stan Rodgers cover. So that was their last song, and it was about 3:30 in the morning in the Atlantic, and I had my Canadian flag, with me, and I'm basically cried. I was just like, oh my God, like this is so amazing. Like Unleash Your Archers singing Northwest Passage like on the pool deck stage. So that was the peak on Friday night. It was a really intense 4 days, and the beers were way too expensive. So it was actually kind of nice not to.
How much was
Be
a beer on
hungover
a
and-
cruise in the Atlantic?
It would have been like almost $15 American, but it was like, I think that was the big monster can of Foster's.
Yeah.
So it was like,
Foster's.
it was huge. But people were just ripping it up. And I was like, oh, I can't. But it was definitely, it was a lot of good, a lot of bands. Striker, so the band I saw, or the t-shirt I have on.
I would like to describe this T-shirt, if I may, Mark.
Striker.
There is Striker written in classic metal font. There are missiles coming from behind a T-Rex that is chasing what looks like maybe a Corvette Lamborghini hybrid, red, of course. There are also lasers being fired out of what look like X-wings, and of course there is a huge explosion behind all of this.
Yeah,
and then
this is on the run.
and it is in space where it is very hard to run, but that is peak metal right there.
So they're an Edmonton band.
Okay, I thought that's the band.
So they were on
A couple of the guys worked at the Bear as street teamers.
weirdly
weirdly enough.
were on the cruise.
I don't know if they would have the Browns. I believe that was them.
They they were on at Saturday or the first show, so it would have been technically Friday morning at 4:30 a.m. So it's Thursday night,
time.
4:30 a.m. So I was like, okay, I'm going to stay up and see. So I counted the bands that I saw. I think I saw 37 sets.
Wow.
And that was a couple, so Unleash the Archers twice, Striker twice. But Striker was 4:30 in the morning on the first night. So they were the last band I was going to see. So it was band like 12 or something like that of the day.
Wow.
So I had my Canadian flag, and thanks to I got a shout out to All Metal Tammy. She actually made sure I had a flag to take with me because there are 81 countries represented on the cruise.
Nice.
So yeah, I had my Canadian flag, and Strikers playing at 4:30 in the morning on the first day, and I got my Oiler hat on, and so I'm like, it's on the big theater stage, and there's not like a ton of people because it's 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So I'm like right up at the front. I got my flag and my hat, and I'm like, yeah, it's my Edmonton band. It's like my hometown band. Like, yeah, because they were like, we're from Edmonton, and there was a guy from Devon. There's like just right over there. He's like, hey, I'm from Devon. I'm like, sweet man, like this is awesome.
Of all places.
Yeah, and so the cool thing about the cruise is you see, like, you're on the boat. The bands are on the boat. You're gonna see the bands. Like I walked around the corner and it's Unleash the Archers on the first day, and I'm like, I was like, Brittany from Unleash the Archers. Then they're like, yeah, hey. So Striker's just in and around. And so Dan, the lead singer, he was like, it was so cool to see an Oiler hat in the crowd on the cruise. And I was like, yeah, it was. So that was sort of the peak sort of first day of the cruise was, seeing my hometown band who have won a Juno, but didn't win last night, unfortunately. So yeah, the cruise and Striker.
When did you
over.
sleep?
Sorry?
When did you sleep?
No, it wasn't like I didn't really sleep much. It was I got in at the cool thing is I got in. I do a volunteer show on CJSR at 7:06 in the morning on Fridays. So my alarm goes off at about 5:30. So as I was going to bed after seeing Striker, my alarm was going off for when I would have been getting up on Friday morning to go do my volunteer show. But I was going to bed at that time on the cruise. So it was kind of like almost like a sign, like I was doing things correctly.
The universe threw you one.
Yeah, it was great.
Was
So
there
I'm
ever
like,
a
'cause
time
my
bands
phone's
weren't playing?
Or
were they- was it going like almost like-
7? Because the one set started at 6 or 6:30, and then the first one the next day was at 10. So there's about 4 hour stretch, maybe.
So basically, you're on this, and you could go watch a band play at almost any hour of the day.
Yeah. I mean, you're spending enough on it. I mean, you'd be kind of bummed if there wasn't. Like the one time, I guess there's a stretch on Saturday in the morning till the bands start in the afternoon because their bands are off doing excursions. So like you could have gone horseback riding with Unleash the Archers, or like canoeing with Tankard or whoever.
Seems very metal.
Did we do
Let's
an
go
excursion?
horseback riding and canoeing.
No, it was
I would
great.
like to go and snorkel with,
Stradivarius. Yeah.
of course.
Where were the stops? Where was?
Well, we just went to Jamaica, like in Ocho Rios, and that was it. Just like there and back.
From where?
Florida.
From Florida. Yeah.
From Miami. Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of a... Unleash the Archers was the reason why I went, but I think I'll go again.
It might be a yearly mark.
Yeah, so
Excursion type
there's a
thing.
correlation between my other favorite festival. So it's called the North Country Fair, which is just outside Slave Lake. And it's like a big... I hate to put it this way, but it's kind of a big hippie fest.
Okay.
But it's a folk fest. It's been going for over 40 years. So I come back from the cruise and I'm like, it's just like the North Country Fair. And people are like, what? So mine is just, don't think about genres, because North Country Fair, there's no metal. There's nothing. It's just like blues, jazz. Like there's all sorts of stuff at the North Country Fair. Lots of folk, lots of rock. But the key thing is that the location is unique. So it's like the cruise, and the location of the fair is like on private land. It's in a valley. It's like super unique. The people are unique. So it's the location, it's the people, and it's all sorts of funny little things. Like both the cruise and the festival have like scavenger hunts. So there's all these like little things that are all similar, but the genres are like not even. So the culture is much the same, but the genres are totally different. So I have the cruise in January. And I have the North Country Fair in the summer solstice in June. Those are my two.
Is your
Now I've got the cruise,
halfway points of the year.
because I did 20 North Country Fairs in a row from 2000 to 2019 until the pandemic. So that was like I love the North Country Fair. I am a hardcore.
Have you missed it since it returned? Or
I missed 2, and then I got to 2. So this will be my 23rd. Okay. I think it's 23 out of 44, because I think there'll be 44 or 45 this year.
Big Dave says via the inbox, props to Mark for rocking the Striker shirt. That band is deadly.
Solid band. If you like sort of super cheeseball, like 80s metal.
I also just love that this like 2 guys that worked on our street team at the Bear, like their band is actually a big deal.
Wow.
Yeah. They were just finished a tour in Europe too. Like they were on. Yeah.
Europe loves their metal.
Oh yeah.
They're
Totally
big into their metal and stuff. Well, it's cool that you had a fun time. It sounds
thanks
like an
for letting
awesome
me
time.
ramble on
No,
about that.
loved it.
Jeez, frick.
You had your trip. You have a trip coming up.
Yes.
You're going to the Masters.
Yes, I am. Pumped for that.
And you wouldn't tell me prior, thankfully. But you have some added news to this. You have a little more details on your trip to the Masters,
Well,
which you've never been to.
No, never been. Just like that one time I got invited 7 years ago when my wife was about to have Luke and made the smart decision and chose not to go, thinking that the world was going to do me a solid.
Karma's come your way.
Karma's come my way. So Friday night, Jess and I have Kevin Karras and his gal over to our house. We're doing a wine tasting thing and dinner, and it's a crazy night. It ended up being 7 bottles of wine between the 4 of us. But anyways, while this is going on, I get a message from a guy I know. He's a golf pro. He used to be the head pro at Shaughnessy in Vancouver, St. George's in Toronto, so some of the top courses in the country. He's now the head pro at a swanky private club in Colorado. But when he was an assistant pro years ago, he worked at Augusta as an assistant pro.
Jeez.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
He messages me and says, hey, I'm going to be at Augusta for that week. I'm a member at the Champions Club just down the road from Augusta National. Most of the players playing in the tournament stay on property at the Champions golf course. And every night we turn the lights on the driving range, pump the tunes, crack open the drinks, and all hit balls on the driving range, have a little party every night. I said, why don't you come?
Perfect.
So on Wednesday night, I'm gonna be at the Champions Club in Augusta, Georgia, drinking and partying and hitting golf balls with a ton of the players that are playing in the tournament. Yeah.
And next thing we know, Murray's going to be invited to the championship dinner.
Yeah.
Like Scotty Shea's going to have a seat there.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get one of them to overindulge in drinking and say that night and say, well, I'll just take your place tomorrow. It's all
Yes.
good. I'll just play.
Yes.
Just give me your hat and I'll wear some sunglasses. No one will know.
Yeah.
So is that like a week on Wednesday then?
A week from this Wednesday.
Yeah, right on.
So that was just, I mean, like already at the VIP Berkman's place that I get to be in on Friday, and like, so be at the tournament on the Thursday, just as not a VIP thing on Thursday, just regular watching, and then Friday in Berkman's place. But now add in Wednesday night that I'm going to get to do this. I'm just like, oh boy, this is pretty cool.
Is there like a challenging math question you have to like do before you get in the door?
I don't know. I mean, I looked up this Champions golf club too, and I'm just like, oh my God, this place is, it's ridiculous. I mean, they have massive cabins. Like that's why the players are all staying there. They have massive cabins on the property.
Champions, what is it?
Champions.
Augusta.
Yeah.
Champions.
There's a second word after it, but
This is the universe throwing you one, Murray.
Yeah.
The way Mark turned the corner and puked in front of
Champions
one of his favorite
Retreat?
bands.
Champions.
Amazing. It's meant to be.
Champions Retreat Golf Club. Yeah.
Oh, it's okay. Oh, that just right off the bat looks. Oh.
It doesn't look nice
the
at
first
all.
night though, but you still get to go
To the tournament.
to the tournament
the next
right,
2 days. And,
obviously.
yeah. Like, and on the Friday, I get to go in this place called Berkman's Place, which is the exclusive of the
retreat.
exclusive.
Oh, geez.
Get to go there. Yeah, I've talked to a couple people that have been there, and one guy said, "Yeah, I had a couple drinks with Peyton Manning," and another guy like just sit around and talk with members of the Augusta Club, so the richest of the rich people in America. And right behind Berkman's Place is 3 replica greens of 3 holes on the golf course, cut exactly like they are on the golf course. And there's high-end putters there for us to go and putt on Masters greens, which is absolutely one of the things I'm most looking forward to. And all the beverages and high-end food that we want is included. And yeah, this is going to be
Those cottages look.
It's mini houses.
There,
So now you understand why all the players are staying.
Yeah,
there.
they're just mini houses.
Yeah.
Like I would live in this house
Yeah.
full time.
So to get that invite, like I'm sitting there probably 3 bottles of wine deep with KK and our gals, and this my phone dings, and I'm looking at this. I'm like, oh my God.
How much did you rub that into KK's face?
Well, KK was, I think he even had a little more wine than me that night. So I'm not sure if he comprehended what I was saying, but it's
I
all,
haven't seen
it's all
KK in a
good.
few
So
weeks.
I just think of Judas Priest when I hear KK. Isn't one of the guitarists KK? His name's KK. Anyways,
Well, Kevin Karras could be a guitarist. I could
Judas
see him
Priest,
more as a
maybe? Yeah.
keyboardist, more so than anything in a band, if anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd be like smiling all the time and grooving. That's KK.
Yeah. He never stopped smiling, that
He's
guy.
a very happy guy. That's gonna be wicked.
Yeah. It's going to be like,
So when do you leave?
I take the red eye next Tuesday
To
night
Atlanta?
to Atlanta, and then got a car rented, and then an Airbnb in Augusta, just a few miles from the golf course.
That was the
And,
flight I took to Atlanta for Copa and stuff. It's nice that we have this direct flight to Atlanta.
Yes, no kidding. I wasn't expecting that.
No.
I was expecting to have an absolute nightmarish travel. They told me to either fly to Atlanta or Charlotte, because both are fairly equal distance drives. But yeah, when I saw this direct flight on WestJet, I'm like, wow. I was
Get in like 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning.
Yeah,
Something like that. Yeah.
and then drive a couple hours out to Augusta and get settled. We also have on the Wednesday, like we'll sleep on the plane or whatever. It'll be like your medal trip. I'm not going to sleep for 3 days because I'm going to be the first guy on the property and the last guy to leave every day. I mean, it's like,
this is gonna be
that's
good.
probably everyone that thinks that they're going to do that. But I don't know. Like, so we have a cocktail party. The company that invited me is Easy Go, a golf cart company, and so have a cocktail party on Wednesday at their place at 4:00, and then go to the Champions Golf Club later after dinner or whatever, and then the tournament starts the next couple of days, and then fly out bright and early Saturday morning. So it's a whirlwind trip for sure, but gonna be every second of it is gonna be pure magic, I think.
You ready to shop in their massive store?
Well,
Yes.
okay.
How big is the Masters store?
What's your budget on that? Like,
But
store
I
is
could talk about
amazing, though.
the metal,
But
but like
now-
I blew probably $600 on merch.
Oh, did you?
American
Oh,
on
my.
the cruise for me and one other person though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in Berkman's Place on Friday, they have an exclusive shop with stuff that's not available anywhere else. And it's actually branded with Berkman's Place. And so what I was reading about it is you can actually sell the stuff that you buy in Berkman's Place for much more than you pay for it because
Really?
it's so exclusive
Yeah.
that you to get something from there is just over the top incredible type
Like,
of thing. So
Yeah, because I don't know if people are aware generally, like you can only get Masters stuff
Yes.
at Augusta.
You have to
have to
have
go.
one of those 7-day or the tickets
Yeah.
for the 7 days
Yeah.
to go, and you could go buy it.
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's like they spent a huge amount of money on renovating their store, and it's this massive store now.
Beautiful.
They
They did a feature on it, and I was
Is there
like,
like
"Why am I
a what's
watching
the
this?
ticket?
Amazing."
Like, can you just walk in and get stuff? Because like on the cruise, there was a ticketing system, so like you'd have to get a number. So I was like
to get into the store.
Yeah, to get into the merch,
Wow.
and there was a whole system for it, and it was I was like number 809 or something, and they were serving like number 200, and the numbers would actually come up on your screen in your TV in your room if you were like wanting to track it. So you didn't have to
Oh.
actually sit there; you just had to go and check and see where the number was.
Yeah.
I just kind of didn't do that, and then they were on. So on the third day, when I didn't think there'd be anything left, the number system was just out the door because everybody had gone through.
Right.
But the first like 2.5 days is like super intense. So I'd be curious what the prices are on that too, right? Because like, is it at the Masters where
Not
like
the
the
store.
food is like
It's-
cheap?
the
Though,
The food
right?
is cheap,
Yeah.
not the store.
Okay, so I was
The
getting
store
that,
is
yeah.
very pricey.
but then you
like-
can
like
go
for
and,
all
like,
accounts.
resell it though. So like you just pay whatever, right? Then if you're willing to pay for it, like
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
No,
I'm not going to
no,
go buy
no,
stuff and then resell it out.
They don't give like
But,
their
yeah.
food and like beer, like
And that was a
they give
separate thing.
discounts
Dirt cheap.
or they
That's a
make it very
different thing, though,
cheap
too, right?
They
The
don't do
Berk-
that with the store.
Berkman's place.
Berkman's
it's
place
a
is
cabin on the
separate.
fifth hole
right,
of
okay,
Augusta.
okay,
yeah.
okay.
No, it's yeah, it's supposed to be incredible. Actually, I found a Masters little ball marker at a golf course once. And there was no one around, my dad and I, so I didn't even know who I could give it to like be like, hey, this is yours.
So it's yours now?
It is mine now.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. So it's yeah, you can't find Masters stuff. Like if you do, it's a knockoff or somebody's reselling it or something like that. It's a big deal. Because then it means you went to the Masters too.
Yeah, like some of the bands actually had like 70,000 tons merch, like specific for the. So
tour.
I did get an Unleashed the Archers one that has like the 70,000 on it.
That's
So,
cool.
Yeah, I was kind of lucky that it was still there because, like I said, I went on the last day, but I mean the bands are smart. You bring enough, and they'll sell it.
Well, and for Augusta though, it's just like this is where also for them, like they could probably, how much money could they make for the course of the year if they just sold all this merch?
I don't think they're worried about cash though.
But that's the
That's a
thing.
good
But that's the point for them is that they don't care. And like I actually find like I don't know which way to view their concession prices. Whether it's and I, as I'm saying this, I know which way kind of more so. It's just whatever. Here's your money. You've paid to come on our course here. We don't need to gouge you for this. Here it is. Or there's the like your money's not good here. Like. We don't need your peasant money here. Just have our food type thing. Like we have enough money as is. We don't need your peasant cash.
Which is the golf tournament that's like a party now?
Waste
WM
management.
opened.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's funny, right? Wait, was it wasted management? or no?
Well, yes.
They shared.
It
Didn't
is,
see
yeah.
anything really.
Yeah,
crazy.
nothing
Well, they had
crazy,
to
but
rein it
yeah.
in, right?
Yeah,
Oh, they're
they settled
finally
down a
reining
little
it
bit.
in.
Well,
yeah.
last year was a disaster.
Oh.
Last year there was rain, so it caused a delay, which caused more people drinking booze, and it just was a mess.
People swimming in the pond, jumping into bunkers and stuff like that.
Sounds like the cruise.
And then enough people were just like, this can't, like it's jumped the shark maybe at this point. Where before it was people went to go watch golf but party, then it became we're gonna go party. Oh yeah, there's a golf tournament going on.
Yeah.
And they needed to
Different
fix that a little
crowd.
bit.
Different
Yeah.
crowd,
Like
yeah.
the one part of the waste management, I don't want to call it a tradition because I think this is legit dumb. Is like, is it just the hole in one on 16, or is it sometimes they go get all excited and they spray the drinks everywhere? Like I'd get mad.
It's
Like,
the
I don't-
hole in one generally.
Oh, I don't want to be covered in beer and wine. You know what I mean?
As a
Like, what-
golfer or as a
Yeah.
player?
as
Or
an person attending at a sporting event.
Yeah.
Oh, then don't go to 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, no kidding.
That would be the
Matthew.
one thing. Like,
That's the one.
yeah.
It's like, come on.
That's a self-awareness thing, or not a
Yes.
self-awareness. That is a just awareness thing in general. So it's like, don't go to the Guar concert, like we talked about Guar, right? Don't go to the Guar concert and expect to be at the front of the stage and come away,
Yeah.
well, if you're at a
Clean and
Guar
dry.
concert,
right?
if you're at a
Like,
Guar concert, it doesn't matter where you're standing. Maybe there's a chance you're gonna get hit. You can't get mad.
you kind of got to be aware that that could be the case,
They
though. So
spray
if you're going to 16, you
liquid
kind of
into
got
the
to be
crowd.
aware, I guess,
It's
right?
I know what you
Glide
mean.
or
It's like-
other things that get sprayed into
Right.
the crowd, and people go like it's white shirts that you're supposed to wear so that it folds. And some people don't even like bring it back year after year, or show after show after
I still
show.
have mine
Oh my
from the
gosh.
first time I saw them. Yeah, it's still got the red and green on it.
Wow.
So if you're going to Guar though, like there may be a
You
chance. Like don't
expect that.
if you're coming with very nice clothes and you get hit, you can't get upset because that's a Guar show. You weren't aware. If you go to the 16, then you can't get upset because like you're going to 16.
I
what do you
would get
expect?
upset.
Well, that's
No,
on
but you
you.
know what
If you
you're
went
going
to
into.
16 hole right now and you got upset that somebody got a hole in one and you got sprayed with beer, that's totally
They
on
should
you.
hand out like rain ponchos or something at that hole, right?
Good point. That's a good point.
Or if you don't want to get wet, you just wear one.
Wear a
In-
poncho?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
In
good-
plus
yeah.
30 degrees. Or
Yeah, that
whatever.
would lovely.
Or you go to any of the other 17 holes.
It's a lot of walking.
Could you stop using logic and reason right now?
if
Let
you're
me complain.
if you're at any other golf tournament that happened, sure, I'd be on your side. But you can't say I want to go to WN Phoenix Open 16 and then be upset if I get hit with beer and wine and stuff when somebody hits a hole in one.
So, as a patron at a golf tournament, though, do you just sit at one hole, or do you walk around, or what do you do?
Up to you. You can do it all. Like,
kinda-
there's zero question. I am going to walk Augusta from 1 to 18 and just
Take it in.
absolutely,
That's cool.
Right.
absolutely, I'm doing that for sure.
It's the beauty of golf. Like
Yeah.
you could do 1 through 18. You could follow a group the entire time. Like if you have a golfer, you could just follow them. You could bounce around between holes. I'm like, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go over there. Or you could just settle in at one place,
Spot and just
a
watch
tee
that.
box or a hole or something, and just watch the entire round from there. It's a lot of fun. I've gone with my brother and a couple buddies a few times to the seniors tour down in Calgary. And one day we would walk, the next day we'd sit on 18 and watch the final round from 18.
18 at Canyon Meadows is pretty fun too.
It's a
with
very
the-
fun day,
they-
especially if the weather's just
They dunking it in the water on their second shot, or
they're going.
yeah.
They're going for it. So it's I haven't done that in a few years. They need to move the date. It's on a bad weekend.
You know what's
now.
crazy though about you talk about waste management and versus Augusta? Like you're not even allowed to take your phone on property on this golf course. You can't take a picture.
Yeah.
I mean, so you go for the
not
experience. Yeah, you're not allowed to. They kick you out. And so, how awesome would it be to be able to take some pictures to be able to show friends and family about your experience? But all you leave with is the memories, right?
Eric Francis used to do a hit with Mark Spector on the Spec show that we had at 1260. He had his phone and he did a hit from the golf course.
Oh
He
my
wasn't
gosh.
supposed to, and we had him on from that one.
Well,
Yeah, he risked
brave.
it. He
He's
risked
brave,
it.
Yeah.
By the way, this is the EST Hangout presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada's storage experts, more than 2 decades helping Canadians through life transitions. Canadian storage provider, sentinel.ca. What's so funny?
I have a text I want to get to.
Oh, okay.
Did you get through the read? Yes.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank
Brock via the inbox, 780-218-9999. Questions for meteorologist Maddie. How long can we expect this snow to last? Because I recall you saying, quote, it won't be around long, unquote. Is that like a week, 2 weeks? Go on.
Yeah, about
Thank
a
you,
week.
Brock.
It's about a week. I think he was going after me on Twitter. If
Good.
this is that Brock. So
You
love
keep
you,
it
Brock,
up.
for continuing to listen.
Well,
I don't think he's a fan of me overall.
Oh, okay. Can't win 'em all.
Again, but as Jay even said on Friday, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it's within a week. It's like the roads are already clear. The roads are
This
nice.
weather's bull.
Well,
let me
clear.
read you the
But
forecast.
before you get to that, but it's as Jay said, like it's not like when the snow comes in November, it's still here through till March. It's not like when the snow comes in January, it's through till March or April. This snow is going to be gone very, very shortly because these spring storms, this is what happens. Welcome to Edmonton.
Okay, today +1, tomorrow +4, Wednesday 0, Thursday 2. Now Friday 7, Saturday 14, Sunday 17. There is
Yeah.
no snow on the ground after Sunday. It'll be gone.
Unless it's in like the place that never gets the sun. Yeah, this is all
And-
gone.
And so overnight Friday is a low of 0. Overnight Saturday low of +2. So that means it doesn't freeze. It continues to melt all night. The snow is gone after Sunday.
Friday, as I was driving home from work, the roads were actually in the major parts were quite.
We're all
They weren't
yeah.
icy.
Oh man, I got stuck on the white mud on Thursday.
No.
You were
in
part
that
of that?
mess?
Well, I was trying to get to a hockey game in the West End for playoffs, and we came around. We're going westbound on the Twilliger, right after the River Valley.
Yeah.
Come around Terwilliger Corner, about to go under River Valley Road or River Bend Road, and it's just lights, nothing but lights. I'm like, what do we do? What do we do? Turn off. Got lucky because we turned off.
Yeah.
then went down to Lessard all the way to Henday and up and around.
Wow.
And on the way home, we looked it up and it was Whitemud was still closed. And
Yeah, that's crazy.
it was, it was about 8:30 because, we were, I think it was a 9:15 game and I was afraid that we weren't going to make the game. We're like, oh, God. Anyways.
What were the roads actually like when you were on it then? Like were they icy and
Yeah,
stuff
it was
and
gnarly. It was
a mess?
bad. It was
Yeah.
blowy and icy, and because I think it had snowed like most of the day or rained at the beginning of the day or whatever. It
Well,
was.
yeah,
it
well,
was not good.
It started with rain.
Yeah.
Then
It was
the
not
snow
good.
came, and things were melting because, again, when temperatures are the way we're when it starts, it's going to melt
This
because it's
guy.
in spring. But then we got to below zero, so things started to freeze and ice came up, and then the snow came on top of that, and it just made it worse.
Well, I was going out to Sherwood Park
So-
from the way, like from the west end, so we took the Henday home because the Whitemud was no go, and it took like an hour or whatever, 40 minutes when it should have taken 25.
What rank did you put? Collingwood?
Collingwood. Yeah. I think we won the
And
game
EST
too.
too.
Can't remember. Anyways,
When do you think? If you had to put a prediction for golf?
Well, let me look at a calendar here.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna
Don't-
get
Because like
lots of
this,
people
like
excited
how
right
much?
Don't hold me to it.
No,
obviously, yeah.
But
now.
I'm
Ballpark
just
it.
curious, like that, what we got, because we got a lot of snow in the end. How much does that delay the potential of?
Oh, it's March 31st today.
Mhm.
Sunday.
has to do with the greens, doesn't it?
I am going to
They winter well. And you're in a good
guess
spot.
April 15, 16, 17. One of those 3 days.
Do you think like a week behind it put us?
Yeah, for sure.
Like that's
Like,
just puts things back by about a week.
last year we opened April 9th.
Yeah.
So, but that's not normal. Like, I always say normal for us to open is between the 15th and 20th of April. Anything before that is awesome. Anything later than that, I'm crying. But 15th, 16th, 17th would be right in what I say the norm for us to open. So
Nice.
I like that.
and I think it's pretty realistic when you look at that forecast. And if you look at an extended forecast beyond that, it cools off a little bit, but nothing crazy. Like not back to 2s and 3s, back to 8s and 7s, right? So I think we're looking like we're pretty good. That I think that's extremely realistic to think that 15, 16, 17.
I've got a hankering for pork missiles at the turn.
It's great. I like you. It's nice to just settle in, watch the Masters, and then that's where you're just like, I want to start golfing.
Yeah.
Like that's when it's like I want to get golfing. And if you
Yeah.
open up the weekend, if you're open like leading into the Masters, then it's kind of like, well, I feel like, do I want to go golfing? Like I want to watch the Masters. That little internal struggle as a
Like,
golfer
even though
for
I'm
me.
not like a huge golf person, the Masters is always like the indicator on the calendar that it's turning. Like that's like, okay, now we got to start gearing up for the summer. Like, what's the summer going to look like? Because the Masters is on, so it's, and then fundraising time on the CKUA end. But yeah, it's Masters is always like, oh my God, is it already that time of year? Like, in prep for everything else that's going to come for the like the summer's always busy, right? Because we feel, I don't know, I feel like in Alberta we have to like scramble to do so much because we
So
outside
only
stuff.
so much
Outside
time, and it's nice.
yeah, outside stuff, I mean, right? Because all year long there is more than enough going on in this province, like arts and culture wise. Like we are not deprived of that in any way. Because working at CKUA, I've got like the Alberta wide brain, so there's just like always something going on. But yeah, Masters hits and it's like, oh no, we got to fundraise in a couple of weeks, and then the summer will be a crazy, and then September hits and it's like, what happened? We just went through summer, and then next thing you know, it's fall. Ugh.
You got to maximize summer because you don't know how long summer will be overall. Like you just once you get into September, you never know when the snow is going to first
starting
fall.
to be more normal for like it to be pretty good a lot longer.
That's fair.
now,
That's true.
But then also you don't know if it's going to be a rainy summer, if it's going to be a nice summer. Although with that, I think we've had
A lot of nice.
It'll
pretty
be-
nice summers in the last
It'll
little
be
bit.
extreme either way. It's just what I've noticed in the last
Yeah,
because like
exactly.
I was bombing tents at festivals like 10 years ago, and we lost like before the pandemic, we lost like tents every summer because they would get with the wind.
Oh, I
shouldn't laugh
I was
at
going to
this.
ask you were bombing tents. What does that mean?
Like hauling 10 by 10 branded tents for a radio station to
Yeah.
the festival so they can be like on location, either broadcast or just marketing stuff, like promotional stuff. So you would like,
How much air would they get?
Oh, I don't know. There was one. I was the volunteer coordinator, and I was doing helicopter traffic reporting for CHED at the time, not on CHED for
Right.
the Canadian Traffic Network. And I had coordinated a tent at the South Country Fair, which is just like I think by Milk River. And I get a text message from our person on the ground. They're like, "Yeah, the tent just went flying and almost hit the band." I'm like, "Okay, well, call the lawyers." And call the higher ups and the lawyers, because like hopefully we had that thing, pegged down pretty good,
Yep.
right? So it's not safe being at outdoor festivals. It's not as safe as it used to be because the weather is extreme.
Extreme, yeah.
That's my point.
Well, camera was a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was not good. Not good.
I've been to Big Valley Jamboree twice. It was rainy the first one I went to. There was mud wrestling on the road.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
It's huge. Isn't there like 60,000 people? Or
Yeah.
something at that one?
Yeah.
It's
That many?
I've
Holy.
been there twice, Mark. I've not seen a single concert.
Well, and I think that one's people from all over the province.
Yeah.
Come for that one.
More
that's
than
how
the province,
That's
I
how
think,
They
they
yeah.
get good. They get good.
good numbers.
Acts.
Yeah.
They get good headliner,
Yeah.
usually and stuff like that. If you're a country fan, I feel like that is a really good
It's
show
the big
to go
one
to.
for sure. Like
Yeah.
it's huge.
So
It's
I
huge.
feel like Tommy Gazzola is talking out of both sides of his mouth right now. Though.
What do you mean?
Okay.
You go to, just we're talking about going to the waste management, and you wouldn't want to get the beer dumped on you and stuff like that, because those are people that aren't golf fans. They're going there to party, not to play golf. You just talked about going to the Big Valley Jamboree and you never saw a concert. So you were one of those hooligans that just went to party and stir shit
Did
up.
you pay though? That's the question.
Nope.
Okay, there you go.
And okay, it's different, Murray. Thank you for bringing this up and calling me out. Because you're paying, you go, or you get tickets to Waste Management. You want to have a great time, and it's generally a golf etiquette. I know it's a party at the Waste Management, TBC Scottsdale. I get that, but like, it's set up. You got the stadium seating. They got their little bars and restaurants around the hole, and it's supposed to be a nice time at a sporting event, not a crap show at a concert in the middle of a field where you're, fighting the elements and you're having tents fly away and stuff like that. So a bit of a difference. And Murray,
A little bit.
for the
I'll give you
record,
that.
I was one of the people that went and showered at BVJ. I would want to stay clean.
Get your hair done.
No, I wouldn't do my hair, wear a hat, but like, I like to. I don't like to be dirty.
So you weren't mud wrestling then?
No, I watched it though
Yeah.
very closely. It was lovely. Yeah,
All right. So we know what gender was wrestling then.
yeah.
Mhm.
It was all women. It was all girls. Mud wrestling. It was something. Never again though. I'm good. Got my BVJ
You're
fix.
growing up.
I'm an old man now. Did that suffice as an answer?
Sure.
It doesn't for me.
You've
but
known
I'm
me
leaving
for
that.
so long.
Yes, I know. I just had to give you the gears
Yeah, that's
because
true.
you get my point. I mean,
I get your
people going to the golf tournament that are going just to party, and you're going to a concert not to go to the concert.
Call it a festival.
Yeah, sure.
If I gave you tickets to WM Phoenix Open, you can't go to 16th hole without expecting to potentially get showered or stuff. You can't complain. You know what
I
it's
will
like there.
complain to
You can't
you.
complain.
You will hear it
Then
from
don't
me,
go.
mister.
Sell the tickets.
No, I
Make
won't.
some cash.
That's a good idea.
That one's gone become a... Actually, I don't know how pricey it is. The full thing. I don't know if like regular tickets are good, but like I've tried seeing some of the pricing for a potential giveaway here or something like that.
For Big Valley?
No.
Sorry.
Waste Management. Phoenix Open.
Right.
That one.
That'd be
I've
not
looked in the
cheap.
past.
My guess.
Easy
But
to
I think
find out.
general's not too bad.
Right.
But then general for like 16th, they line up early in the morning and they
Yeah.
run to the hole
Mm.
because they want to get their seat there. Like you go as soon as like it opens again. You have to go well before it'll line up and stuff. Whereas if you want to pay for the experience on 16 and pay for like the private where you have your ticket, then it's pricey.
Okay.
I have friends that went to Waste Management, like this is like 10 years ago, and this clip sometimes still comes up. You know when people say like Baba Booey when guys
Yep.
tee off? One of them, a few beers in, yelled, "Let the big dog eat." And it made like Sports Center. And it comes up every now and then. And my buddies were like, "That was me. I did that." I'm like, "You're an idiot. You're an idiot."
It was like boom goes the dynamite. Was that the first ever kind of one of those
Well, that was
phrases? Like from the 80s, wasn't it?
Well, that's from an actual newscast.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
The guy went, and boom goes the dynamite. And now it's a
That
classic.
poor guy. So bad for
Here's
him.
the general admission prices to the 2025 Waste Management. Monday and Tuesday for the practice rounds free.
Nice.
Wednesday, Thursday, and Sunday $75,
Not bad.
and Friday and Saturday $125.
That's a good price.
That's
Yeah.
easy.
That's all general
not bad.
admission. Talks about upgraded venues like the Kiva Club and DraftKings Sportsbook from $175 to $225 a day, which is still
That's pretty
cheap.
good.
Yeah,
Quite reasonable.
but I believe like a lot of the seating in 16 is just general admission. That's why people line up early and run, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot, but there are also then like the booths above it,
Yeah,
because they
the-
built that arena that is.
Right.
They
So
actually
there's
let
the-
them run
the-
though. Hey, they don't have they're not like tripping out on insurance on that. Because it'd be like, we let them run and someone's going to fall and get injured. Because I know like the Edmonton Folk Fest like forces people to walk
Oh, yeah?
and they even have bagpipes. So the bagpipes walk people in, but if they could, they would scramble
Yeah.
to get their tent in their spot. But no, you got to walk because I mean, people could get injured.
Trample
doing
easily.
No, at
scramble,
this
right?
moment, they
Yeah.
don't.
Just a thought.
Or
Interesting.
unless that's changed over the last few years. But usually it's you line up, the gates open, and you just see the running.
I'll have
And
seen
everyone's
old
bolting.
concert footage of like old like Iron Maiden shows, and they'll like the big ones like in Brazil, and they'll let the gate open, and then it'll just be like a run, and then it's like whatever the big one, Rock in Rio is like 500,000 people,
Jeez.
and it was just like one of the biggest shows ever, obviously, but it was always cool to see the scramble to try to get, all these metalheads just trying to get to the front as soon as they can. But I'm going to a gig in Toronto. I have to say hi to All Metal Tammy again because we're going to Toronto and we're going to get the rail. That means like getting right up to the front and being at the front.
For
A band called Bury Tomorrow. They're from the UK and they're not really my band. So they're Tammy's band. So I think
right.
the genre is metalcore. And so that means there's like a lot of breakdowns to it. I'm not really a metalcore guy. But anyways, it's just fun to think about, scrambling to try to get to a spot, whether it's a golf tournament or at a concert. But yeah, at the Folk Fest, they like walk them in with bagpipes and
Oh, that's-
everybody goes neat and
that
tidy.
seems very folk fest.
Yeah.
So there's
Freeze
spot,
prostate with the bagpipes.
But it used to be a scramble, and like you could go from at the top of the hill, right? And woo, like
Yeah, you could slide pretty
Yeah.
good.
yeah, you could get injured
fall
pretty
pretty hard.
easily there, right?
I can't
makes
get
sense.
into Folk Fest.
It's a lot of people.
I would
don't
love to
really-
go to it
How
one
many
year.
people do go?
There just isn't hasn't
10,000
been an
a day.
act in the last few years. I'm like,
10,000
yeah, I
a
want to
day.
go see
Ooh.
them.
I went there once. Van Morrison. I saw Van Morrison.
I wanted to go see Monsters in Men. The only time they've come through Edmonton was there. And I was busy that night because the Eskimos at the time were taking on BC, I remember. They were out in BC and out of work. And now I've always wanted to see Monsters in Men. I'd like to go see them. Icelandic band. Very good.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of them, so hopefully they can.
Yeah, we got lucky because that hill is just like a natural
Yeah, perfect
stadium,
spot, yeah.
right?
It is cool looking though, and everybody vibes.
Yep.
And that's no, it's not Fringe is the end of our summer of the festival season, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah,
I
usually
think that's usually kind of.
like
Yeah.
midway through August till the end of
Yeah.
August. Yep.
Mr. Reed will be back there this year volunteering again.
Did the Eskimos at least win the game that you had to miss the concert for?
That's a good question.
Probably not, right?
No, that
Just
was
a-
at the
just
that would
a
have been
guess.
around
For
the,
the Eskimos,
that was around
was
the
when
time.
they were good.
Oh, were they
No.
good at one point? Oh,
Well,
Sorry.
I don't know if that would have been
There was
2000
a time mark.
because it was
What?
2015 is when Dusty and I first started doing the pre and post game shows at 1260, I believe. And I don't know if it was that first year or if we went into the next few years. No, I gotta find when they were here. 2015. So there's a chance they would have won that game.
They want to that run
Dusty
at the
and
end
you
of the year.
did the pre and post together in the beginning at TSN?
I think we did 2 years together, or was it 3 years together? I can't remember. Then I did a year with Eric. And then I did 2 years with Hernan, maybe. And then I did a year and one game with Jeff Walker. Then we got shut
You're in
down.
one game.
Then we got
and
shut
we
down.
got shut down. Yeah.
Then we
I
got shut-
got
we-
to fill in a couple times.
We
It was
did,
fun.
yeah. We did
I
the
like
first game of the season was the Edmonton Saskatchewan game where they couldn't punch it in from the one.
Brutal.
3 attempts.
Yeah.
Let's make sure we clarify that part of it. And then
Kyle Loxley.
we got let go on the Wednesday, and that Edmonton went to BC and got shut out that following weekend. And that was the first time I just watched an Elks game as kind of like a fan. It's the first time in a very long time. So the Eskimos at that time in BC, they did lose, but it was 26-23.
Oh,
Matt Nichols would have been the starting quarterback for that one.
Matty Ice, baby. What are you announcing any plans for the pre and post this year? Who's got some new people in? Is Hernan going to be involved at all?
No, Jay and I will
Jay
still
and I are
do
gonna
it.
do it?
Well, actually, I haven't planned if we'll do anything else like fully with it, but
Yeah.
we've got to deal with a few things with that and figure out some plans with it. But no, it's just going to be an exciting year.
Yeah. Well,
I enjoy it.
Jay's got a big football background too, so he's a great guy to do that with you for sure.
And it's just going to be one of those where it's a lot of expectation on this.
Yeah,
team.
what happens if they still suck?
They won't.
Because everybody's thinking they're going to be pretty good. But like,
They're
I
not
don't
gonna
know.
suck.
But I'll say this.
Positive vibes, Mark.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And it's a big question. If this doesn't work, what happens?
Blow it up.
If this doesn't work, what happens?
Well, it
and
has
I'm not
to be-
saying this season.
Yeah, it has to be low.
necessarily.
It has to be low and slow now.
But
no?
what
Right?
if these next 2-3 years don't work?
Like just
Where do you go from here? Like this is a major. But I
with all the new people though, you have to give that group some time though. You have to give them a
You do.
couple of cycles.
But the
through,
flip
don't
side is
you?
Elks fans are sitting there like, we've given you 20 years basically.
But not with the guys that
Outside
are in
of three.
charge now, right?
But
With all the-
it's
Well, Hervey used to be in charge.
Okay.
And there's a lot of familiarity with the coaching staff, with the organization, JC Sherritt and people like that involved. Some of the premium players that they brought back used to be here.
so they're not as starting from scratch as I thought
No.
they were.
no.
Because I'm very a pretty peripheral
But they've
fan,
had
right?
a lot
So
of changes. Which in
Yeah.
one, it's how long is that going to take to build the chemistry? But
that's
at
what
the
I'm saying. Give them a few
time-
cycles to get through it.
But at the same time, some of the key players, like if you're going to look at, Trey is still here. His running backs are still here.
A lot on the offensive line.
A couple members of the offensive line are still here. I think left tackle is still here. Is right tackle still here? I'm trying to remember right. But Cordy is still here, even though he's going to move positions.
But even if they go 500, that'd be all good, no?
No.
No? That's not good. Oh.
I think the expectations from fans is you got to take a bigger jump than that.
Oh,
Like,
okay. So the
they were
jumps-
two.
okay,
They were
okay.
2 wins away from making the playoffs last.
Okay, sorry.
So they're right there. But your linebacking core is still there. So there are key parts of this team that are still here to build off.
So the step is the playoffs then?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You have to be in
Or no,
playoffs,
it's like playoffs. Or what was the thing from the Oilers 2 years ago? Cup or bust or whatever it was.
Oh, we're not a cup or bust for this team.
Yeah, I wouldn't
It's-
go that
Great cup
far.
or
But
bust.
it's possible. They could win.
Yeah.
I think it's get to the playoffs and hopefully contend for a home playoff game late in the season. That would be the thing. I'm just worried about the start of their schedule. That's the only thing I'm a little worried about. If they can grab a win in the first 2 weeks that they play, because they get a bye in week 2, then I think it's good. If they drop to 0-2, I think all around it's going to be a lot of, here we go again type thing. And that's where they just need to get that out of the way mentally, and then they'll be good.
Go
you
beat
think-
BC.
Do you think
Yeah.
the intensity for the Oiler, because you know how the Oiler fan base is really intense. Do you think that intensity is the same way for the Elks Eskimos?
I think you could get back there. But they have to be consistently good for a long time.
Right.
Because if you look, if we're 20 years removed from their last, that 05 Grey Cup, not their last Grey Cup, the 05, we're 10 years removed from their last one.
Yeah.
But 20 years from that 05. So and then the next year's the ending of the playoff streak. They were in the playoffs for 34 straight years. That 06 was the first year they finally missed. If you go 06 to 24, they've hosted 3 playoff games. That's it.
That's unacceptable.
And for this franchise, unacceptable. When you look at 14 and 15, great years. 14, they probably could have went to the Grey Cup if Riley doesn't get hurt late in that season. But those are the actual outliers. You take those 2 seasons out, this has been a trash franchise for a long time.
Yeah.
And isn't that? I'm right though.
Yeah, you are.
You're
You're just calling a spade a spade.
It's been trash, and Elks fans, I think, are at a point that's be good. It's not be good this year. Be good this year, next year, the year after.
Yeah.
And then I think the fandom will come back
More
here. But there
consistency,
hasn't, you look at just the early 2000s, 02 Grey Cup appearance, 03 win the Grey Cup, 04 500, but hosted a playoff game. 05 won a Grey Cup.
A couple of things though. Trey Ford, I think the fans were getting so on board with Trey Ford, and he won a couple games when he was playing. I'm going to forget who they were playing in a home game, but they sold out the entire lower bowl because people were getting excited again over a few wins. So you talk about going 0-2 would be, here we go again. What if they get off 4-1 and 5-1? That building is going to be rocking.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to say, Mark, with the CFL as well, I would venture a guess that there's not a team in the league that doesn't turn over at least 25% of their roster year over year right now in this era. It didn't used to be like that, but it is today. So yes, Edmonton has a lot of new faces, but every team has a lot of new faces.
But I think where Edmonton could be, things could go well for here. They could be the new Winnipeg in the sense of if things work here, what Ed and Chris are trying to build is having players also want to commit to the city of Edmonton. Because when they were players, you committed to the city of Edmonton. It wasn't just about the team, it was about the community, it was about the city. And Winnipeg has actually done a great job of keeping players. They have done a great job over their run of getting to Grey Cups, of players just re-signing. And I think we'll see that in Edmonton if they get good again. If this team starts having success, I think you're going to see a lot of guys just continually re-sign and not necessarily go for that payday of an extra $50,000 or whatever. They're going to want to stay part of the project of the Edmonton Elks with Killam, with Ed, and with Chris. That's what I think we're going to see here.
But if they also get back more, there's other opportunities for them in the city to make money in the off season as well. So if they just stay here and commit to the city,
like the players, you mean, to be able to make. Okay, right.
There'll be extra things, and like it, I do think that part of if this team gets good again, I don't think we'll ever see them back to being what they were, in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, which was like, it was Oilers 1 and the Eskimos were 2. Now it's Oilers 1, 2, 3. Then we get a break, and then it's the NFL, and then it's the Elks. I think that's I think they could get back to being like on par with the NFL and being very popular in the city and people caring.
Yeah.
People actually, I shouldn't say, people do care.
They do care.
The people get upset.
Yeah. They do.
And when they're losing, we get messages. And if people didn't care, we won't get those messages.
Yeah.
But I think there'll be just more people then going, I want to be there. I want to go to these games because it's fun again. And we're back to being the evil empire, hopefully. That's what I think people want to say.
06 was the first year, or my first year as a season seat holder. So
it's your fault.
I apologize. I will take that burden on myself. And then there is some hype around this team. Like Belsey he told me the other day, he bought season seats.
See how much he paid for? Did he tell you how much he paid for those?
You got a steal of a deal.
He's in the standing section.
He loves
Twisted Tea and
parties.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It works out to like $15 a game.
Yeah. But he's going to spend
should
about
be-
$120 every game.
It should be accessible.
Yeah, perfect.
though, like,
And it is. The prices are
this
good.
one,
That's good,
this
for
one
sure.
was stunned me when he told us how much he paid for it.
Yeah.
And we were like, we did like 15 something for a ticket. And he's
Maybe
like, I might only go to 3. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Like you don't have to go to every game even with that
If you're
price.
paying that little for sure.
maybe it's not should be accessible, but the idea that it would be is nice.
Yeah.
But they
I
also
would-
have to. It's a business, so you gotta still charge what you need to charge to be able to break even too.
Yes,
right?
but where I will say they should be is that they have the space.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I don't know
obviously,
all the
right?
full budgeting of it, but I've always felt make sure you get people in the building.
Yeah.
Get as many as you can, even if it's a little cheaper, because they're going to buy food and drinks and all that, and you're going to make some money that way. Now, I think the one flip side to that, I think the city gets the money from the concession or gets a lot of
do
that.
they?
I think that's what somebody once told me. Then with
Curious
that,
on
and that's
the on
issue.
the economics.
So
on
they
that
would
for
need
sure.
to get a little bit more of that.
The lease agreement on the concessions ends at the end of this year, so then it can all get renegotiated.
Because I know like
need that.
my
Or
folks'
split.
church group used to run one of the concessions, and that was a fundraiser for them. And so it would be like 30 of them, and they'd go to like all the big concerts, all the Elk games, and it brought in a good chunk of revenue for the church. So each group, I think, would run a concession.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if that's the formula still, because I don't think their church group is doing it anymore.
Go for
but-
it.
Joaquin for his daughter's dance.
Oh right, yeah.
He was slinging dogs and
Yeah.
burgers for years, and so yeah, that one concession I think was for the dance, or at least part of it was. I just enjoyed going to that concession. Remember you and I did, and you'd go and be like, "Hey, is Joaquin there?" And then you'd hear the lady go, "Joaquin, your friends are here."
Oh, boy.
No idea, just no clue.
That sounds like your mother, though.
Oh, she.
No,
Where is Joaquin?
Yeah.
she's got a lower.
Why do you call him Gager?
Oh my goodness.
He
That's what he
Gager
would
made
do.
Dusty look like a hero with the TSN crew
Yeah.
because he'd drop off a care pack of a bunch of food at the end.
Oh, nice.
But then
Like
Gager
the leftover food from the concession.
oh yeah, he'd just
Yeah.
give,
Right,
like
right.
that's
And
what,
he'd
if
make
you go in the
special
fourth
burgers.
quarter and you'd go and he'd be like, here's a burger, here's a hot dog or something.
Well, I used to go, like, if I was at the game, I would go to that concession. So my mom would be at the till. I'd be like, hey, Mom, can I get a, and support the church group because they would make a percentage of whatever they sold. So we would, even if we were on the other side of the building, walk all the way around to go to make sure we go to that concession.
Yeah, that's good.
I like the walk. I do. Oh, sorry, Matt.
Continue. I was thinking of something.
Like my seats are in the southwest corner. That's the gate I should go into. Most of the time I do because I like to go through the tailgate now, which is great. But like if you take the LRT, I like to do the walk around and just kind of people watch and see who's there for the game. And
sometimes they have some entertainment going on out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, like you said, the tailgate on the one side, but yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Like I think now, like you talk about Gage, or maybe not want to go to all the games. You might actually this year be able to give your tickets away, and people will actually want them.
Yep,
because it hasn't been that way.
Good point.
I can't get to this game. Who wants these? Yeah, I'll take them. I'd love to go.
Yeah, exactly.
5.5 weeks till training camp opens for the Edmonton Elks.
My brother even said, he's like, hey, I know you can't go to every game this year. Can I buy your tickets off you? I was like, yeah, sure.
Well, sure.
Excellent.
I mean, that just shows that there is a little bit of momentum, a little bit of excitement that has been significantly lacking for a long time.
Well, and hopefully if they don't, if they go whatever, and something like bad, then hopefully people will just keep going though. Like just keep, like they supported the Oilers when they were trash for a decade, right? Like, I mean, it's just that stadium is so big. So it's like you get a small number in there and
they're
it looks
only opening
bad.
the lower bowl now.
Right,
they close the upper
that
bowl
makes sense.
for now.
Good call.
I don't want to fully open up an old wound because it still pisses me off. But it's like, this is why I get upset with Chris Jones. There's the only reason I dislike Chris Jones. It's why I turned on Chris Jones. And if you will, I was a big Chris Jones fan. But it seemed like casual fans in Edmonton cared about the Elks again because Trey Ford was starting. And then he goes and brings an MBT. And the lost year, in a sense. Like, where could things have been if they just stuck with Trey Ford for that year? And to a degree, also, like, Chris Jones might still be here as the head coach and general manager, depending how things went.
So, like,
but they had fans coming back and people cared. And it was like, I know while we're at here, it was like, I'm not a big, I'm not the biggest Elks fan, but Trey Ford is getting me excited. Yeah. A lot of people talking about Trey, and people want to buy Trey Ford jerseys, and it's been a while since we wanted to buy a specific player jersey of the Edmonton Elks. And then, nope, got to go to MBT. And there's, I don't want to come to an Elks game anymore because I want to see Trey. I want to go watch Trey. And now it's Trey's team.
Okay, so then when there was the two quarterbacks, like, because I wasn't paying attention to the games, like, was that an interpersonal thing why Trey Ford wasn't getting played? Because like on the field, it looked like he was doing well. And then was it like, why isn't he playing? And now you bring in this guy. So you think it was like
they actually won games when Trey Ford played.
Yeah.
So then like,
that's why, like it's the stats show he was the better, like he was the guy to try.
So like,
and they didn't
maybe
want
that just goes to the point where there's a variable that we'll never know about ever. Right. Because we're on this side of it. So, like, I don't know, maybe bad example, but for the Oilers, like Jeff Skinner scoring goals, but then he gets benched, right?
Yeah.
So, like, from a very casual fan standpoint, you're like, that guy's scoring goals. But what? Why is he on the... Okay, so there's clearly something else going on? I don't know.
Personalities definitely
there was a clash of some sorts. But now we get to see what Trey's made of. And
is that because the Bethel Thompson, he's not around?
He's in Montreal. Well, so, and he was... And what Ed did this year is what the Elks kind of should have done last year, and then we'd be a year ahead in seeing what the Elks are.
So yeah, like
but MBT came in as the starter then, and Trey had to be the backup.
And that killed a year of progress, basically.
Yeah. Instead, Ed's coming. He's like, okay, we're going to bring in Trey. He's our starter, but we brought in a veteran backup to Trey to learn from. But ultimately, if things actually don't go well, if this team does drop to 1-8 or something again, there's a veteran to go to. There's a veteran, and it should have been reversed last year. Yeah. It should have been Trey's the guy, or we're gonna have, or at the very least, an open competition in camp. MBT's brought in, Trey's brought in. Fight. Who's going to be the best quarterback through training camp? You're going to be the starter. But they gave MBT way too much money. He had to be the starter, and it didn't go well.
Are they still trying like really hard? Off the field, like is Flo Rida still coming?
That was a few years ago.
Yeah, it's been a
New
while for that
ownership.
one.
New ownership is
I
putting.
loved Flow Right Up.
Yeah, that was a
It was
lot
actually
of
not
fun.
a bad show. His show.
Oh, the new ownership, right?
Their new
Yeah,
ownership,
yeah.
and he's dropping a lot of money to make the in-game
Running
experience
people
better.
over.
And yeah,
Right?
it was
Was
perfect.
he?
That was so perfect. But yeah, everything is just trending beautifully for the organization right now.
That's why I'm worried if they start off.
That's
poorly,
I
right?
know.
Like,
I know.
Things
That's
are
what I
going
was
so
just saying,
well type thing that you're just like, well, then where's the stumble?
Let's just
Yeah.
manage some expectation here, people. Like, come on.
The best mark is Busta Rhymes did a halftime show.
What?
Yeah, and they
Oh.
flew him in, drove him to the stadium. He did the show, flew him out, right back to the airport and out. So it goes. The tail goes. Yeah.
Oh, the bad one is when they paid Shannon Sharp to
Oh,
come
to do the
just
coin
flip.
I was
I
like,
think I
what?
heard it was like 5 figures.
What?
Oh my god!
Unnecessary.
It's 5 figures for
Yeah,
him.
and I remember I was sitting there and they're like, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome NFL analyst Shannon Sharp. And it's like,
Yeah, he just came out to do the coin flip, and then
Why
I don't.
are you here?
I don't know if they must have showed him at some other point during the broadcast,
Yeah.
but they had Shannon Sharp come for that, and it was like 5 figures to get him.
How do
on
you
there. I
have
don't
that?
even know if that counted travel. I think it was the appearance fee.
How do you hide that in the budget? Like,
You don't hide
where
it.
do you
That's what
stick
you're
that
paying for.
into? Like,
yeah, they lost a lot of
That
money
was the
in those
marketing
years.
budget.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to come out and watch Shannon Sharp flip a coin?
wow.
He should have been dressed for the team. if
Can he
he's
play
paying
running
that
backs?
much. Yeah.
Official drink of the EST Hangout is the Finnish long drink legend in 1952. A drink unlike any other sparkling refreshment. Real liquor, longdrink.com/Canas, where you can answer your postal code, find a liquor store and establishment nearest you with the long drink in stock. We got Mark Rodgers from CKUA, CJSR. We got Murray McCourt from the VIP Golf from the Ranch Golf and Country Club. Tom Gazzola, Iwanyk with here. Also, Brendan, the intern, is on the other side of the camera. You did mention the Oilers. That's the big Battle of Alberta comeback win on Saturday. How are we feeling now about the Edmonton Oilers? Leon, baby.
I
Leon.
look at it like a pendulum, right? So it swings back and forth all the time, constantly. And I think there's some people that are looking at the pendulum so closely that they're not seeing it swing back and forth. And so I like to just take a step back and just like, it's a long season. You don't get, it's cliche, but you don't get too up. You don't get too down. Like,
That's
you know,
not Edmonton fans.
no,
though.
I'm trying to like
Yeah.
be the opposite of the intense, toxic, you know. So it's like a pendulum. It's gonna swing back and forth. Just sit back and watch it and enjoy it. Like, don't look at it so close that you can't even see it swinging back and forth, because I think that's what some people, because like, you're really going to affect your like personal well-being based on like how a hockey team is doing. Like, I think you just need to maybe just take her down a notch, maybe. But
That
that's
does
also
happen.
that's just me. Maybe listen to CKUA or CJSR just a little bit more.
Like it.
Anyways, it's a pendulum. I look at it like a pendulum, and so like I'm not too worried. It's a fun game though, like to come back and win in overtime.
Oh, that's what if I was an Oilers fan, what I'd really love about that is how crushing that is to the Flames.
That
Like
was a
thinking they have 2 points, thinking that they're in that playoff race, but then boom, no, you get 1 point.
Yeah,
They tie it, go to overtime. Leon finishes it, which was just a great shot.
great shot.
And yeah, you got your 1 point, Calgary. Like you didn't deserve that one, but like as a Flames fan, that'd just be like, oh, we're gonna beat the Oilers. We got this, and then nope.
It's still going to come like right down to it though, isn't it? The last couple of days.
St.
Well,
Louis
I
is
don't
running
think
away.
so.
so
with
here's
that.
the playoff races. I've just got it on my phone. I'll start east, come to the west. Toronto's sitting in a good spot for the Atlantic right now. Tampa and Florida both have a game in hand on Toronto, but they are 3 points back of Toronto, which is great for us because right now it would be Toronto, Ottawa in the first round of the playoffs.
That'd be fun.
And especially if Ottawa could knock them down, like
Oh
it'd
my
just be
God.
amazing.
Well, Florida's been in the tank. You know, there's a couple of key injuries there with.
But is Kachuk going to be back for the playoffs?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and right now, with the Lightning actually have home ice in that series based on the way it is. Carolina, New Jersey, Washington would get Montreal at this moment. That is the playoff race I think we could all watch. If you go within 4 points of Montreal, they're at 77. The Rangers are at 77. Columbus at 75. Detroit Islanders at 74. So you've got 5 teams fighting for that last Eastern playoff spot. Out west, Dallas with the game in hand is only 6 points back of Winnipeg for the top in the Central. It's going to be tough, but I think the Central is still up for grabs of who will take it. Whoever doesn't get it gets Colorado in the first round. Vegas is in a good spot to take the Pacific. LA's 2 points up on the Oilers. That's who we're going to see in the first round. Like we're going to see those two teams meet. St. Louis is 2 points back of Minnesota for the first wild card spot. Minnesota does have a game in hand. St. Louis is 6 points up on Vancouver, who have a game in hand, and 7 points up on Vancouver after 3 games in hand. St. Louis is in control, but it looks like the West wild card spot kind of the race is kind of almost close to being called.
Yeah.
But it'll be a battle of who joins the Pacific. Is it Minnesota or is it going to be St. Louis that's coming to the Pacific Division?
Oilers get a matchup against Broberg and Holloway
In the second
round. Oh,
That'd be wild.
Like, how bad does it? Every day that looks so much worse with what Holloway's done. Hey, like
That one blew
unbelievable.
up in their face.
Yeah.
Big time. More so than Broberg, I think.
And I never got. I mentioned it with Belzy off the air, and we forgot to talk about it on a Wednesday. But I said, how much? Like, what could have he done that here?
He might have done better.
Yes.
Could you imagine if he's
And that was Belzy's immediate response.
yes.
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 He would have done that here.
He would have been playing on a wing with either Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl. He probably would have done better.
Yes.
You know? And you look at the year that Fogel's put together in LA, and you're
Fogel
just
had a
like,
couple.
oh,
Folk Daddy had a couple goals last night.
Yeah,
He's one of their better goal scorers.
he is
out there.
What's he at? 22 now.
22. He's the third highest goal scorer for the Winnipeg, or not the Winnipeg, LA Kings. Although 2 guys are at 60 points, Kopitar and Kempe. That's the team leading points.
60, that's it, eh?
Yeah,
Seems low.
Yeah, they don't score a lot.
no,
They're-
I guess not.
they're
but they
not
don't
a-
give up goals.
Yeah, they're not a great
Who's their
road
goalie?
team.
Well, yesterday was big save Dave.
But Kemper,
Didn't get a lot of work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Kemper's having a good
they're
season.
plus 29 in their goal differential. The Oilers are plus 21.
Because Quick is in New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
The backup up
In
there.
New York, yeah.
Minnesota's -9. It's always fun seeing a minus and you're sitting in a playoff spot. Montreal's
Minnesota-
-26. And they're sitting in a wild
Montreal
card
is
spot.
coming on though. They're a scary team right now.
The
I think.
Rangers are +2, and they're just sitting on the outside. But Montreal is -26 differential, and they're sitting in a playoff spot.
Minnesota has been decimated with some key injuries. Like they're going to get Kaprizov back here pretty quick.
Yeah.
Like that is, that's a big ad.
And then Eriksson Ek, I think, is still nicked up.
Yeah. Yeah, Minnesota is a scary team, I think, too.
Let the Central Division teams beat the living snot out of each other.
Yeah.
See what happens. Every playoff series is going to be tough. Every playoff series is going to be tough. That's one thing we have to get accustomed to. People were saying, well, you want this team because that. No, every series is going to be tough.
Like I'm not like I'm worried about the Oilers just in general, but
Yeah,
that's
as you
just
should be.
that's a me thing.
Yeah.
But at the beginning of the year when Winnipeg was doing so well, I just kept thinking, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna suck to lose in the first round. Like you guys are doing so well during the season, but I'm afraid. Like I'm afraid for Winnipeg Jets fans that they could be out in the first round after such a great season. Like, cause or was it last year where there wasn't really an upset in the first round, but most every other year there's usually one.
Yeah.
Right, so my gut says Winnipeg might be the one. Not gonna.
How about Washington? I'd be more inclined to see Washington lose than Winnipeg.
I read when we were just sitting in the office on Friday. I just heard him like, "How's Washington this? Like that? Like
Look at
doesn't
their roster. It's I
Who's
don't
the
think
coach?
it's a rookie coach that had never been a head coach before. Like he's going to win the Jack Adams Trophy hands down, and he's a rookie coach, never coached before. Like it's crazy.
Dubois, Chikrin, Protas, and who's the other one that they picked up? Those sneaky good Mangiapane. They loaded up with like good, solid
They have
NHL veterans.
They have a young guy that played on their team
Protest,
last year that
young
got
guy.
something like 6 goals last year, and he has like 28 or 30
It
this
might
year.
have been Protas. Eh?
Yeah, that's who I might be thinking
Yeah.
it might be. But it's crazy. Like Dylan Strome is your number 1 line center. Like he's not that good.
Which Strome did we give away?
Ryan.
Oh,
He was awesome. He's a good dude.
I remember that one. I was kind of like I felt like he was just kind of gelling with the team, and then he gone.
Well, they
Yep.
mishandled. Like they traded away Eberle for Strome, and then they never put him in Eberle's spot ever.
He's
And
had
he was supposed to be like the poor man's Eberle, and they just never put him in a spot to try to see if he could be the poor man's Eberle. They just put him like on the third line and stuff, and then Shirelli. That was what did he
he's
get?
had a pretty good career though. He's gone on to-
Spooner.
They got Spooner, and
which then
they
led to
found
Gagne.
Yeah.
Yeah, oops. I don't know. They like the Oilers though. I mean, they're nicked up. They're older than they were last year. They're slower than they were last year. They're nicked up. It's not like if Kane comes back, they're going to need to go on a long playoff run for him to get up to speed and actually be able to contribute of anything of consequence. Same with Frederick. He's been out for so long, never played in the system. It's going to take him a little while to ramp up.
Why are people just seem so cool with like, we traded for this guy that's not playing?
They pick up a lot of injured guys.
Like,
Like
if they sign him, then it's like, okay, you got the guy. And if he plays in the playoffs, you got him for that. I think the bigger issue right now for some is the extra assets for the salary retention. When you could have just kept them on LTIR and never had to give up that. Could have you had, it's asset management, but could you have traded for a lower pick and not given up a first rounder in the end?
Was it a first rounder or second and a third, I thought maybe?
Which one was the first?
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. All of that, and he's not playing. So like you just rattled off all of these things, and he's not playing. So what? Why all of that for somebody that's?
Do you have any concern for any of the players that because yesterday was like the injury report, like McDavid, Ekholm, Skinner, Frederick, Kane. Where are you with their availability and being ready for the playoffs and all that? I know Knobloch will sit there and say these guys
don't trust Knobloch's timelines. That's all I've learned this year.
Arvidsson will be back right away.
Yeah, you missed 15 games. To me, Ekholm's the big one. McDavid, I'm certain that he'll be okay, but Ekholm, because the defense it can be spotty. Skinner, I'm sure will be fine. Frederick, it'd be nice to see him play like 5 games or 6 games.
Doesn't sound like it's going to happen though.
I know, that's the crazy part. Kane, forget about him till the playoffs. I understand the rationale this year to conserve these guys going into the postseason and put less emphasis on momentum going into the postseason because this team went through it last year, and maybe it's using that lesson from last season's run to better prepare yourself this year. I will give that concept the benefit of the doubt this year. Now, if it blows up in their face, then screw it. What a mistake that would be. But I think you do need to be concerned in general because all these guys who were important players, everyday guys, your biggest stars, best defensemen, have been nicked up.
So taking that attitude, though, do you like the idea of going in the playoffs and you will never have home ice advantage throughout the playoffs in any series?
I would love to if this team had home ice advantage, and I know they made an emphasis of saying we want to finish first, we want a home ice advantage, and they haven't done that. They haven't accomplished their task. If they can overcome not having home ice, Murray, like they did last year for a couple of rounds, then that makes a moot point. But they went out. I mean, that's a couple of years in a row. One guy says cup or bust. They almost win it. Then the next year they say, okay, we want home ice advantage. And it's like, well, you guys pissed it away. You lose to bad teams, you know?
It's about a health or hot. What do you want type thing.
Well, it's got to be health.
And that's the thing. So you give up home ice, but you'd be healthy. And it's, okay, who needs home ice if you can end a series in 6?
Well, the Kings need home ice against the Oilers because they're really good at home and shitty on the road. So,
but that's the 4th. Then, but again, that's to get the 7. If you're the Oilers, you just we just need to take one road game. We take care of our business. We've got this. You know, that's how I think you'd take the mentality if you're the Oilers. We don't need 7. We'll do it in 6. We'll do it in 5.
Yeah, time will tell for sure. I was texting with Stu on the weekend, and he's not 100% sure when he's going to come back, and that's the way head injuries are, right? I mean, you'll see when you feel better, and then maybe wait a few extra days before you play. So he didn't really give me an indication for when he thought he was going to be back, but if I was reading between the lines, maybe a week.
They didn't go, right?
No,
Ekholm, Skinner, McDavid, they didn't fly, but Knobloch said maybe on the road trip. That's, I think, what he said.
Point,
but so now it's like I think it'd be safe to say that this 4-game road trip, we're not seeing those 3. I'd say just rest them.
That's fine.
Sit them. Like wait till the team comes back and then play. I don't know why you'd fly them out there to rush this when you're this close to the playoffs. You're this close to it's 82 games are done. Now the season begins.
The trip ends Monday night, right?
So it's one more week.
Yeah.
Let me double check on this. Because tomorrow, Vegas.
Thursday, Saturday, Monday, I believe.
Yeah, tomorrow, San Jose on Thursday, LA on Saturday, Monday in Anaheim.
Yeah, they might just.
And that's the end of the season?
No, then there's 5 more games.
Oh, right.
3 at home.
Right.
St. Louis, San Jose, Winnipeg, LA, San Jose to wrap up this season.
if they feel they're ready, like they'll probably work with the training staff here to rehabilitate. I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're at the rink right now, to be honest with you. If they really wanted to get those guys, they think they're ready to come back, they could just hop on a plane or send them Uncle Daryl could send them a PJ and away they go. And maybe they play Monday. I don't know. It's doable.
It's Anaheim.
Yeah, it's not a very far flight. I mean,
No.
it can
But
happen.
I'm not saying it's not doable. I don't see the point. Why get them on a
and that
plane to
might be
fly
part
them
of
out
it.
there to go take
Yeah.
on the Anaheim Ducks on a Monday?
And that might be part
You know,
of it,
like
honestly.
let's just let them sit a couple of extra games, and we'll see you on Wednesday against St. Louis.
Come on, give Drake Kajula another chance. Give him a shot.
Yes.
He's still part of the organization.
What about him?
He's still part of the organization.
Yeah, he's
Condor.
like one of the best
no, I
players
don't-
in Bakersfield.
I don't follow Bakersfield at all. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, Bakersfield is without some veteran defensemen and have been for a while. No Josh Brown, no Travis Dermott. And they're trying to scrape and claw their way into the postseason on the back of scrappy Drake Kajula and Seth Griffith. And Matt Savoy continues to play well. And who else do they have there? They're playing Camden Dean like 30 minutes a night. And
Well, they've lost their goalie for a little bit now
Yeah.
too, right? Because he's up
So-
here. Do you think he gets a game on this road trip if Stu doesn't come back?
Would you give him San Jose on Thursday?
Why wouldn't you?
Why not?
Rodrigue, right?
Ollie, yeah, he's familiar with that building. That's where, he was because they used to play in that building. The Barracuda did at least.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I could see it for sure.
I liked his
It's
that
also-
20 minutes he had.
Because part of that too is you play Saturday at 2,
Mm-hmm.
Thursday at 8:30. So it's not like the 2-day rest type thing. You're getting a day and a half type thing.
Mhm.
So maybe that does make sense to be like, something at San Jose. Here goes Rodrigue, Pickard. You'll be ready to go for Saturday in this big game against the Kings.
Yeah.
Have him ready.
My take on Pickard is he plays really well when he gets slotted in here and there, but when he gets a big workload, he falls off a bit. Would that be fair?
Yeah, well, his back-to-back starts. The second start hasn't been. It's only happened a couple times, but
Yeah.
that's not gone well.
So yeah, I don't think you want to overwork him. So to give Rodrigue San Jose, why not? And San Jose is just awful right now. I mean,
Did
they
you
got
watch that game last night?
8-1, was it?
Oh yeah.
Hey, was CC got traded to San Jose though, right?
And then he got
Now
traded
in
to Dallas.
And then because I saw him playing for Dallas, and I'm like, when did that happen? I thought he was in San
A
Jose.
little bit before the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Ugh, I'm a terrible fan.
No.
Well, you're not following the San Jose Sharks. Like, that's the
Okay,
thing.
I guess.
It's-
I'm not
or
so
the
bad.
Dallas Stars. I think you're good on that one.
Oh, Dallas. Frick, I hate that. I don't like Dallas. Or Carolina, for obvious reasons.
Because you're a fan.
Mm-hmm.
For the young folk out there.
Well,
it's
I was
the-
gonna
it's
say,
the
no,
90s,
'cause
2000s thing.
We were talking earlier about the Eskimos and Elks and about just how they kind of had that poor stretch there, but they were sort of the flagship organization, right?
Yes.
for a long time.
They
years,
saved
yeah.
everyone else.
So-
they're the team that bailed out every other team.
I think I might have mentioned this the last time I was on, but because I was growing up in the 80s and the Elks were winning and the Oilers were winning, I just thought that was normal. And it's just, so I think my point would have been that our lenses are a little bit blurred because we had that stretch in
Well,
the
for
80s,
people of a
and the
certain age.
and and the expectation
For some other people, it's not as
Right,
much
of course,
seeing
that. But
we've had to deal with the
but I was
the
8 or
fallout
9.
of that.
I was 8 or 9 at the time
Yeah, I
in
get
the
it.
late 80s, right? So I was, my brain was just like a sponge, right? And then this is just
Winning's
just
easy.
the way it is, but it's not. So I think maybe sometimes that's just managing expectation in our own heads, I guess sometimes, right? And be like, it's like the pendulum again, right? It's not going to be we're 40 years straight of an organization being at the top and winning all the time, right? It's going to go back and forth a little bit.
Somebody in the 80s sacrificed the future of the Elks and the Oilers to have all that success in the 80s, and everyone else, all the people under 40 were having to suffer with whatever was sold.
Big difference too from that era to this era is salary caps.
Obviously, right?
So there's
different.
levels of playing field for everybody. Winning is not easy.
No.
And when you look at, Tampa Bay winning 3, my Hawks winning 3 in short periods of time, that is obscene for that
Tampa Bay
to
at
really
3?
happen. They won 3, yeah.
Oh, frick.
But so it's, when you see things like that happen, even the Kings win 2, winning is not easy.
The Pens went back to back in the mid 2010s, late 2015, 16 was it?
Matt Murray
they're
was their goalie, by the way. So just a reminder.
But that's the impress. I think that nowadays, like there's those the cap dynasties type thing. I think going back to back is one of those things where it's just like, wow,
Yeah, impressive.
you just don't see that.
What's
too.
your guys' take? Hart Trophy, Leon, Connor, Hellebuck. Well, who would you vote for? I mean, it's obviously going to be
McKinnon.
some McKinnon too.
McKinnon's had
Yeah.
a great year, but who got him with that forearm shimmy the other day?
Oh, I
Someone
didn't see
clocked
that.
him pretty good.
I don't know where I would go with it. I haven't looked at things. I will say this though: if Connor Hellebuck doesn't win this year to a degree, like there's also part of me that goes, just let's remove goalies from this conversation moving forward.
Yep.
Who does the voting for that category?
Sports media.
Yeah, that one. That's
The
right. The
writers.
Professional Hockey Writers Association.
For the Hart.
They vote on the Hart.
So
The Ted Lindsay Award, which is
voted
so
by-
the Hart is for the most outstanding. No, the most valuable to their team.
Player.
The Ted Lindsay Award is voted on by the players, and it's the most outstanding player. So there is a little bit of a different definition there.
Mm-hmm.
I think, again, I haven't looked to compare Draisaitl versus Hellebuck and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but
Tough to
There's-
compare a forward to a goalie, but
And then who
but
votes for the goalies?
sport.
I don't know who the Vezina
sports. I believe it's a sports media.
well, there's because then the GMs have an award, and then the broadcasters have an award. Like there's just different people that vote for the different awards. I'd have to
I think
look.
that's a variable you look at though when you're trying to make a decision, or like when
Yeah.
you're trying to have a take on it, right? Like okay,
Hellebuck's got a 925 save percentage this year. He's got a 2.01
2.01,
goals
yeah.
allowed average. He's had 7 shutouts. It's one of the 43 wins this year in 57 games. Like if you're talking about the most valuable to the team, like one, the argument for Leon is look what he did for the Oilers on Saturday. Without Leon, what would
They
the Oilers
lose.
be?
Yeah.
What would the Winnipeg Jets be without Connor Hellebuck? I don't know when the last time, I don't think it was that long ago we saw a goalie win the Hart. But I feel like,
Price, maybe?
Jose Theodore? Oh, Carey Price.
yeah, I was
yeah.
about to say, I think Carey Price, which one? The Vezina?
Doesn't it?
Vesna's
Okay.
GM.
You're a
so-
walking encyclopedia, or is that all perplexity?
So the Vezina is the GM, and then the Hart is
Professional
the
Hockey
writers.
Writers Association.
Right. Okay.
But they're and that's what to also agree. There's also then just the default. Who's more valuable to any team than a goalie? So do we have to separate these awards in a way and be like, well,
Well, there is the Vezina, right? So
yeah, and that's
Hellebuck is winning the Vezina. There's zero question
Yeah.
about that.
I think there's a case to be made that he wins the Hart. Honestly,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Cool bet
There
had him
is.
as the favorite as
yeah,
of this
it was a
weekend.
very thorough season from start to finish. He's been excellent. They're really Winnipeg had what, like 1 week or week and a half where they dipped a tiny bit, where they lost a couple of games in a row, but they've had a monster season.
Yeah,
And it's
they've
voted on
consistent
before the
all
playoffs,
way
right?
through.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, playoffs don't
So
factor in.
I know last week Hellebuck was minus money for Cool Bet. Leon was plus money. Right now, Draisaitl and Hellebuck are tied at minus 105 on Cool Bet.
Wow.
McKinnon's plus 900. So they've got it as a dead heat between Leon and Hellebuck there.
Leon has been excellent.
I will say,
this year.
I also throw. I think Scott Arniel should be in the conversation for Jack Adams. I
Yeah.
think too often we look at who's the team that is surprised this year and was supposed to be trash and did better. I think Scott Arniel's done a hell of a job of coaching a Winnipeg Jets team. I don't think anyone saw this coming from the Jets, and they were a good team. He's made them better, and I think sometimes we disrespect the top teams and their coaches. I go back to John Cooper's never been a finalist, I think,
Which
for
is
Jack
wild.
Adams. You cannot tell me in any given year he has not been one of the best coaches in hockey.
Yeah.
I think Scott Arniel should be in the conversation for the
Absolutely in the conversation.
Jack.
But when you say like Winnipeg has been underachieving for years, in my opinion, their roster is good.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the star power of a McDavid or a Draisaitl, but that roster, like their third line, is really good.
Yep.
Who's got the best record in hockey? Is it them or the Caps right now?
Changes
They're-
deep.
I know. I
they're
just because I
close.
want to. Winnipeg has the best by 3 points. Caps have a game in hand. That's not going to be enough to catch them, obviously. Here's the Stanley Cup odds on CoolBet.
Oh boy.
Florida plus 550, Dallas plus 575, Colorado plus 900 with the Oilers and Vegas, the 3 teams plus 900. 2 teams, Tampa, Carolina plus 1,000.
You still haven't said Winnipeg or Washington.
Capitals plus 1,100, Winnipeg plus 1,200.
No respect.
Zero
Wow.
respect for the top 2 teams in the National Hockey League.
That's-
You have 2, 4, 6, 7 teams on CoolBet
Well,
with worse odds than those two
Mark
teams.
said he views Winnipeg as a prime candidate to get upset early.
Mike,
I threw out Washington, so I mean, maybe
Mark and you, I like your hunches. Tampa to me is the sneaky pick in the East this year. I think they've rebuilt and have a resurgence, but I completely understand why Mark would think that. I completely understand why you would think that, Murray, with those teams, because they don't get it done.
Well, I'm not saying that I want that either. Like, it's just my gut at the beginning of the year was just like, dang it, like, because all I saw was Jets fans being like, we're number one, and like we're doing really well, but they have a crazy start, right? And it was just like, oh, this is great, but like again, the pendulum, everyone, it swings.
The way Colorado
it should swing in Winnipeg's favor for once, and they do have the best goalie in the world. So,
who got shelled last year though?
Well, in the playoffs, he did.
Well, if they can get through that first round, then I guess maybe, right? Like, that's hard to say. Right?
The second round is the one for me. Like, no, that's the bigger one because, like, right now it would be St. Louis. It might be Minnesota though, depending on how that ends. And as good as St. Louis has been, it's that next one because it's Dallas, Colorado.
And there's been plenty of times.
That's the big one.
That's gonna be fun.
Well, plenty of times over the last few years where the second or the conference round is like the best matchup, or like, but this is only the second round. And you're like, these are the two best teams.
Colorado and Dallas is round one.
Right. So that's
crazy.
Pretty consistent over the last few years in the playoffs, from what I recall.
Well, Dallas, Colorado have the two best odds, or Colorado's tied, or two of the best three odds. Colorado tied for the third best, and they'll be one will be out in the first round.
Yeah, that's nuts. Well, with Hellebuck though, yeah, he didn't have a great playoff last year, but it's not the same thing. But Four Nations, he was really good.
Yeah, he was.
And so those were big moments and big games, and he
one where
played.
David scored on him though. That's got to be crushing, no?
Sure, it is, but I'm not playing like that was bad. Like just Connor alone in the slot.
Yeah, that was bad defense by
I guess
by
AM34.
Yeah, Mr. Matthews leaving the best player in the world alone in a slot. Connor McDavid is going to score from that position far more often than he's not.
This is interesting. Hellebuck's last three playoff series. He's got 3 games. Okay, that's 4, 9, 14 games. So his last 14 playoff games, last 3 series. He only has 3 games with an above 900 save percentage.
He was very good against the Oilers in that sweep in 2021.
Yeah, 970 save percentage, shutout 917, 925 in those 4 games. Then against the Le Canadien, 875 save percentage, 958 still lost, 875, 929 lost. But then against Vegas 2 years ago, he had a 941 save percentage, and then all below 900. And then last year against Colorado, all below 900. He's got 9 straight playoff games where he has been below 900 save percentage.
How Montreal made that cup final is still baffling.
Yeah.
Corey Perry was on that team, wasn't he?
He certainly was.
Well, I didn't realize that he's been on that big of a run, though, for Hellebuck being poor in the playoffs. That would be the thing that would give me even more cause for concern for the Winnipeg Jets. Just that, is Hellebuck going to be able to do it in the playoffs fully?
Well, that's the magic of what we're about to get into in a couple weeks, is watching all that, right? I mean, it's going to be fun. VR
Montenegro says Draisaitl on Coolbet for Hart was plus 400 on Saturday night. So his 2 goals jumps him up to minus 105.
Right. So if Hellebuck gets a shutout in his next game, then he jumps up and
he goes up, and Leon drops down.
Pendulum, everybody, the pendulum.
VR Montenegro, amazing charge, by the way. Well done, sir.
Keep the stigma.
Oh boy.
Keep the stigma around chin straps. They're not necessary. They're not needed. They look terrible. The stigma's there for a reason. The EST Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage, Canada's storage experts, more than 2 decades helping Canadians through life transitions. Canadian storage provider, sentinel.ca. We also, congratulations to Duke, my Blue Devils, for making it to the Final Four. Round of clicks for the Duke Blue Devils.
I'm not clicking either.
No.
We're back. All number 1 seats making it to the Final Four. First time since 2005.
What was that?
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's rare, but this was the year. I brought it up on the Hangout a couple weeks ago before going, and it looked like the top teams of the top teams this year, and that there was everyone else. The top teams just were good consistently all year. There wasn't a lot of like, oh, this team's now number one. Oh, they've lost and now new number one team. It just seemed like the top teams were good. And that's what we're going to see. So we get Duke, Houston, Auburn, Florida on Saturday in the Final Four with the right to go to the championship on Monday. So I don't know who's leading our ESPN.
So is this
bracket.
the most boring NCAA tournament then in a long time? The least drama and the least intrigue with
I have not watched a single second of it.
I've enjoyed it up until probably the Elite Eight. I think the Elite Eight, there weren't as many close games. But Sweet 16, there were a lot of close games.
Yeah.
I thought it was a good tournament. Actually, their ratings were really good through the first weekend when there were like not as many big upsets. I think it's okay once in a while to have these years. And it's okay once in a while to have just what you expect to happen and see, who wins it all. Because it is such a crapshoot most years.
So then we should also be okay with a Winnipeg-Washington Stanley Cup final because they've been the best two teams all year.
100%.
There you go.
100%. Why? Often in the NFL, you do get the top teams going
It
pretty
happens
far.
more often in the NFL.
CFL
than
too.
it does,
It happens quite a bit. So hockey's just such a long journey with all the physicality and the injuries that it makes it a little tougher for that. But
for sure.
I don't know. I'm okay with Florida. It was really strong towards the end of the season, especially. Auburn's a great team. I don't know much about Houston outside of them being number one, and they usually have good programs, but they never get it done. And Duke's Duke. If anything, though, I think historically, if you believe in these stupid things, blue teams have a good history of winning. And so, like,
The Tar
Florida,
Heels? Like the
Florida,
Tar Heels?
Duke have, like, if you go based on that, are like probably your favorites to win this now.
Tar Heels are blue, right?
Yeah, they won
remember that.
their
Kansas?
share, yeah.
Kentucky,
Kansas, Kentucky, yeah.
Connecticut's got that dark blue in them.
Gonzaga.
They've never won.
Did they not win?
No.
They were like the
The closest they got was they got
to.
to UCLA. I think they lost to in the championship or something
so
like
they
that.
were
Was
in
it
the
them?
championship and lost. Okay.
I think if they made the championship once or twice, might be just the once.
Like I remember when Gonzaga was like kind of the big, like small
Yeah.
school that came in and like upset. I bet you their enrollment just went through the roof after that
Absolutely.
because everything would just be trickled down from that. Like that first tournament run could have been 20 years ago. That was that Gonzaga.
Well, I mean, it's crazy like how winning does that. Like not so it's the same level, but I was just reading the other day with Deion Sanders' new contract with Colorado Buffaloes. The enrollment in University of Colorado is skyrocketed since he's been there because he's been there and the football team's doing better. And so that's crazy how that
Probably good
impacts
payday
things.
for him too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
did
guess.
they say what his salary was or no?
They did.
It
He
was
would be the
massive.
third highest NFL coaches. I don't remember the exact number. But they're losing his son,
Yeah.
who I really don't think is that good anyways, but he's going to get drafted really high. And they're losing Travis Hunter. So how good is Colorado going to be now with losing those two guys?
The thing with Deion is he's not a recruiter guy. He's a transfer portal guy. He'll go steal. He's going to go stank players.
Yeah.
He goes into free agency and he goes and grabs players.
Yeah.
So they'll have some talent. I'm just not sold on him being a winning
What was
coach.
that?
$54 million extension.
Transfer what?
Transfer
Transfer portal. Now there's free agency in
crazy.
college sports. So before
And
I thought that
money.
was like a soccer term.
No.
that's transfers in the transfer window.
Okay.
This is the transfer portal.
It's the portal, Mark.
It would before
like your
if-
T-shirt.
If you went to a school and you got a scholarship and you didn't like where you were, maybe they did a coaching change and you don't.
Yeah,
The
God
new
forbid
coach
you
doesn't
follow
like
through
you.
on something. Hey, jeez.
Well, but
Anyways,
coaches never had.
I don't
follow
like
through.
it here. I'm just gonna go somewhere else.
Well, coaches never had it.
exactly
Coaches
right.
were able to just bolt.
Follow through.
Coaches were one of those people that they can go sign a contract, be gone the next year. And what happens is they recruit a player and then they go and a new coach comes in, the coach doesn't like you as a player, you're stuck with that school. So if you wanted to leave, you had to sit out for an entire year. And then if you want to go somewhere else, the school could sit there and be like, you can't go here, 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 or here, but you can go over here. And then the players will like, this isn't fair to us completely. Like coaches get paid, the school's making a lot of money, we make no money, we get no freedom. And now there's the transfer portal where you can enter the transfer portal and you could just go to any school any moment.
So that's huge for the students.
Yes.
It's massive.
great. That's great.
Yeah, and then now there's the NIL money where you can get paid as well. So like there
What's
are
that
no
again?
rules.
Sorry, NLL?
NIL.
NIL.
NIL? What?
I don't know what it represents. I
can-
don't know what the acronym is.
Was just like a sponsorship cash kind of thing?
Yep.
Yeah, TV revenue.
And it's or it's just the booster comes and gives. I'll give you $1 million.
Right, right.
Come to
And
the
it's
school.
not under the table anymore.
It's not on the table.
Now,
So,
like,
but now the NCAA is getting to a point where this is such a wild west with that. They are going to need to fix that. What was it?
Yeah,
Name,
that's
image,
right.
likeness.
gotcha. Okay.
And so like there has to be a reining in of this, because I think like even in this March Madness tournament, the transfer portal opened up,
Did it?
which Calipari was upset about because he's like, well, like we're playing these tournaments, and
Yeah.
you know, as you're getting to bowl season, the transfer portal is open, and they're like, it's one school, I forgot which one it was, had to cancel their bowl appearance because they didn't have enough players. So many guys went in the transfer portal and were leaving. So it's changed college sports. It's now
big
there's
time.
free agency.
Yeah.
So you don't have to actually be good at recruiting anymore. You can just go take people from the transfer portal.
And which is what Sanders is doing.
Sanders is doing it.
Dion,
Yes.
is it? Right?
There's, I know, Shaka Smart. What school is he coaching in college basketball? Was he Maryland? I can't remember where Shaka Smart is. And Debo Swinney in football at Clemson. I think they don't do the transfer portal. They literally don't take players, or they don't want to deal with it. They just go recruit.
Well, but the NLI money, you just pay the best recruits, whoever's
Yeah.
offering the most money. Because now what you're seeing too is players that may opt into the draft early will kind of try to figure out where they're going to get drafted and then what that pay is. Oh, but now how much money am I getting from the NIL money?
So they gotta
So they might choose to, if they think they're going to fall to the third round or something, they may choose to stay in college because they're going to get more money from staying in college than they would as a third round draft pick, hoping to elevate their status for the next year to get into the second or first round, where their first contract would be way more money.
Some
So-
players will make more money in the NCAA now than
Yeah.
the NFL if
Yeah.
they were, or
That's
like
crazy.
women's basketball. They'll make more money possibly staying in NCAA
That's good. I
than
think
going to
that's
the
a good thing.
WNBA.
That's true.
So they stick around and they'll play. And
I'm always an advocate of the underdogs, so there you go. That's good news.
So it's
the
the NCAA is not what it once was, which
Yes, different.
to me, good. There's the good of it, and there's also the bad of it, which the conference is
sounds
being
like the money's
destroyed.
getting spread out a little more now, though. So
It is, but like now we're also getting to the point where you're going to start seeing, like even more so than ever before, have schools and have not. There's who was it? St. John? Not St. John's. St. Francis. I think it might have been St. Francis. They were in the tournament this year. Last week, or was it over the weekend? They are dropping from Div 1 to Div 3. They announced their athletics
Damn.
because they can't afford it.
Wow.
They know this is all
Just a
going and
money
stuff,
thing.
and they just can't afford doing it. And they'll save money because there'll be smaller travel and stuff. But they were in the tournament, and now they won't be able to go into that because they moved to Div 3. And I think you're going to start seeing more schools go, we can't afford being this. We don't have the NIL money to compete. We don't have the boosters to compete. We can't be in this anymore. Like we're at such a
fair.
disadvantage. We're going lower. And so the haves are going to be even more haves than
how
ever
old
before.
is this new structure?
A year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like as an
This is
example,
the
too.
first cycle through it. Then
No, it's been
Well,
it's been
the
a couple
transfer
of
portal has been a few
seasons.
seasons, but NIL money is new. Right?
Yeah, it's like
NIL
maybe
money.
2 years or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Like people say Texas, like the O line is it's 8 figures probably that the O line's getting paid total or something like that.
And it's impacted hockey as well, where before the NCAA, who's now giving NIL money to players, they would not accept anybody that ever played in, like, say, the Western Hockey
Right,
League or
'cause
Ontario
that's the
Hockey League
change
because
there.
they were professional players, even though they're getting paid like $200 a month. Now, starting this upcoming year, they're allowing players to go play in college hockey that have played in the Western Hockey. So that's going to completely change the landscape of junior hockey, right from junior A to major junior to CIS hockey. It's going to change everything, and we don't really know how yet. It's going to evolve over the next
I've
few
been
years, right?
digging the Hello Hockey because you guys have been talking about that. So
Thank you, Mark.
I've been digging, like kind of just trying to grasp the. But then again, it could take a couple cycles for everybody to kind of get how it works.
Figure out how it's going to impact.
And you'll have to put in
everything,
new rules and deal with it. And it's the same with NCAA. There will have to be some sort of new rules that are going to be put in place because it's a little too wild west right now.
It's good for the players though, giving them more options on the
Sure.
hockey side,
Yeah.
like on that,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Okay.
We had Scott Bartlett on from Bartlett Hockey. It's an agency on Hello Hockey. And he was really good at describing where everything was going, the breakdown. You're going to see the movement happening. he said someone had texted in and asked like, "Hey, I've heard guys can make 25 to 50,000 playing NCAA hockey," and he goes, "Yeah, even more sometimes." And guys might do that, and then I think we're going to start to see more and more names from the WHL making the jump to NCAA. I think we're going to see a bunch of guys from U Sport make the jump to NCAA. We're going to start to see that fall out this summer.
Yeah, like a great example, guy Jack Pridham was playing on West Kelowna in the BC Hockey League. He was a third-round draft pick in this past year. He is scheduled to start next year at a high-end U.S. college. This rule got changed. He left his BCHL team immediately and is playing for the Kitchener Rangers right now, playing on their first line, got 4 points in their playoff game yesterday. And so he's absolutely dominating in the OHL, but next year he's going to go to the U.S. college school. But he would not have, none of that would have happened if all these rules didn't change, right?
So it sounds positive, but it'll take a while to figure it out, I guess.
You have to figure out, how to. Jay just texted me from the Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Milne, 3 to 6 right here in Edmonton Sports Talk. Name, image, likeness needs to have parameters set. Salary cap, even things amongst teams, put timelines in place, 2-year minimum, keep some continuity and commitment in place, as well as signing periods, nothing during critical times of the season. And I agree with most of that. The only thing I would say with the minimums is I expect that from the coaches too, though. If you're a coach that's going to sign 1 year, you shouldn't be able, if players have to stick for 2 years, as a coach, you should have to stick then for 2 years or something.
I don't mind that.
I hated seeing.
At what level are you talking about?
NCAA.
Oh, okay.
I hated seeing a coach go to school for 1 year and then bolt somewhere else, and then the kids were always locked in.
Yeah.
Because then every coach is different and the recruits are different and stuff like that. But I think if we force the players to do something, make the coaches have to do something.
That's fair.
But I hate I like that they need to change the windows that it's open because it is in critical times and it is completely messing with the NCAA. Portions of this hour brought to you by the High Product Marketing, official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk, promotional products that bring the buzz. Check them out, thehighproductmarketing.com. Chelsea will take care of you. So if you need any sort of, do you just want it for yourself even?
I might need some stickers for the next cruise because that was.
Is that what they do?
They have a trading. Yeah, so everybody brings little trinkets.
Cool.
And so I brought my volunteer radio show sticker and I traded it with a whole bunch of. I got a bunch of stickers and a bunch of like little knickknacks and stuff.
Because curling's pins, I think.
Yeah.
It's pins, right? Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's a cool little trade culture.
Hockey's little flags, right? Flags of their country that they've always give. Yeah.
I like that thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's neat.
Here's your
It was
gift.
fun.
Or just a little trade-off and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When's first day of the golf show again?
First Sunday in May. Is that May 2nd, I want to say?
I should know these things. May 4th.
May 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
Yes.
Chad's birthday, nothing.
Oh, lovely. Ursh.
Yeah.
Yeah, excited to get that going again, though. I love doing
Excited.
it and love being part of EST with it all. So it's
Excited for golf
gonna be
season
a lot
too.
of
And so close to the Masters too.
There's
It's
been a
just
couple
wonderful.
of texts for Murray specifically.
Shoot.
Since
Oh,
we're talking
boy.
about the golf show. PJ says, boys, PJ here. Make sure to give Murray all the best at the Masters next week. Super jealous. He gets to walk that course, take it all in, and see how they talk about it on TV. How steep the hills
Yeah,
are.
we'll talk about that. I'll be on the Hangout, and thanks for that. I appreciate that.
There's
But
one more
I'm going to
after.
be on the Hangout the Monday right after the Masters, and so
Boom,
I'll
fresh.
be able to share all the
The 14th.
fun details of my experiences down there.
Beautiful.
Hersey says, ask Murray what he thought of the Houston Open this weekend with the Minwoo Lee finally getting it done and who he likes leading into Augusta.
Well, that was a fun tournament because he had a big lead, and then it shrunk, and then he got it done. Like even that chip on 18. Well, he ended up putting it, but man, like when he hit that second shot in, I can't believe he hit it over the back of the green so that was the nerves. So I was watching it with my father-in-law, and I said, like, normally 9 out of 10 times a PGA Tour player is getting that up and down, but under this pressure, I don't know. And for him to hit it to where he did and his reaction, I mean, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. But going into the Masters, I think the big names are going to rise to the top. I think Rory and Scheffler are getting their games in order, and I expect both of those guys to be right there at the end of the Masters. And I don't know if any of the live guys are gonna. My wife asked me that. What's still going on with that live tour? Does it still happen? And I'm like,
Just ask
I
Josh.
don't know. Yeah.
Clausen
like,
falls
Clausen
still.
does.
He loves it.
I know. Like I don't even know when the tournament's happening. So my wife looked up and saw who was, one of the money leaders or whatever. John Rahm's number 3. So maybe he's got a little game going on right now. I don't know, but
There was an article a week or two ago about DJ and where he's at, and it's like
Terrible.
he's just given up. He's just given up. He doesn't care. Like he's fallen so far down the world rankings, and the article, I can't remember which publication it was, but it just basically said he's just resigned to the fact that he's a weekend golfer on the Live Tour.
Well,
He's made his money.
they rarely play.
Yeah.
So they don't work on their games as much as they used to because they don't really play. But so many of these guys, like DJ, got so much money thrown at them.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I don't care now. I mean,
There wasn't
it
as
depends
much
on
of
the
an
person.
incentive to win. You lose a little bit of it.
Right,
Yeah.
because you've already got bazillions of dollars just to show up and play there. So now, who cares if I win? Because I'm already so rich, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So the incentive, right? If on the PGA Tour, if you want to make lots of money, play well. The Live Tour, they
Just show up.
They just got to show
You
up.
make
and-
extra.
Yeah,
Yep.
but who
But
cares when you get paid?
you're already still making your
What did
millions.
Rahm get? 500 million.
Yeah.
Insane.
What's
Yeah.
with the what was it, the inside the golf, the tournament that was like inside and they
Oh,
were shooting at a screen?
Yeah.
What was
just
that?
ended.
Yeah, it just
Is that a
ended.
thing, or is that going to be a thing, or what's going on there?
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I think it'll be a thing.
It was the
it
first round of it,
Yeah,
though,
it was
wasn't it?
year one. I think
Right.
it started by Tiger Woods and Rory.
Okay.
So when the two biggest names in golf start the thing, it's probably got some legs.
And it
PGA
just wrapped
Tour's
up, though,
involved.
right?
Just wrapped up,
Okay.
yeah.
Atlanta, the big winners.
So it'll be the same time every year kind of thing in the... Okay.
I think they're going to sit down and really analyze it.
Right on.
The goods, the bads, of everything, and make the necessary tweaks.
Did I see the
make it a
greens
little
were
better.
moving?
Yeah.
But then they stopped moving it a bit more
What did they?
because apparently it was you were even noticing
Creases.
creases in the green and stuff.
Mm.
I don't think they figured that
Well,
out.
and I
Best will have to look at that. I have not seen any TV numbers for the final as
We'll
of yet.
see at the par 3, maybe.
Which
at
isn't
Kingsman,
good.
Maybe. I don't know.
Little pitch and putt action.
yeah.
Ultimately, I think that's the biggest thing they're going to need to sort out, and that is the accuracy of the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but that's the problem is that they were using the inferior systems
Yeah,
because
exactly.
Tiger's involved with it.
Right.
But if they want this to go well, you got to throw that away
Yeah,
and
I
go
gotta
to the
say
better
sorry,
ones.
Tiger. I
Like,
mean, yes, I know
Like the
you own
technology,
this.
you mean?
Yeah,
Okay,
there's a
okay.
TrackMan technology which is the standard or like the best.
Okay.
And they're not using that one. They're not even using the second one, which I don't even know what the second one is. They're using an inferior one because Tiger's involved with it, and it's gotten
right.
issues with it.
Tiger and Rory started this whole thing,
Okay.
so
Okay.
they're using his technology to try to promote it, but what they're promoting is how crappy it is compared to the other ones. GC Quad is the other
The other top one.
top one, yeah.
Yeah. So it's is what it is, I guess. We'll see
Yeah.
what they do. How can people listen to more of Mark?
Well, I will have a pre-recorded show for my volunteer radio show on Friday morning at 7:00. It will be with Taryn Cochran of the CBC came, and because I'm in Toronto, so it's a show from from the fall, but it's a punk prairie. We called it the Prairie Punk Takeover. So that's on Friday morning at 7 a.m. on 88.5.
CJSR.
And then I'm live back. I'll be back from Toronto on Saturday to do my live show on CKUA, which is Open Nights, 94.9 FM in Edmonton. First radio station to stream online in Canada in 1996.
Damn.
So that'd be CKUA.com. We started in 1927. There's a lot of history there. And my show is Saturday nights from 9 till midnight, Alberta time. It's called Open Nights. It's 3 hours of openness to anything upbeat.
Big donation from a generous donor of $1 million.
Barish, yep.
Ooh, that's
Yep.
who.
So we
Thank you.
just launched the Barish Arts Den, which is our performance space. So it's now branded with his name, and people can rent it out, and it's a source of revenue for us in terms of our building downtown. And it's
Almost lost some money, or did lose some money, and it was in need of fundraising.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
some extra
so-
dollars, and it's great that he stepped up with $1 million.
Yeah, so about a year ago, we put a call out and we needed to raise like $3 million before the end of September. And so we had like April to September, and we raised enough to stave off the closure. And now we're continuing to raise money, and that $1 million is obviously huge. So thank you, Brian Barish. And that event was really great, but we have to keep going. Like it's constant,
it's not
all the
you
time.
guys are now
we're
flush
not even,
with cash,
not even close.
but it's nice to have
we're gearing up for 100 years 2027, so there's like some serious fundraising going on for that because we want to tour the province, right? Being an Alberta wide radio station, it'd be great to be able to go to every transmitter and see people and maybe even take like a little museum style display with us because we've been around for 100 years.
Community
right?
radio is very important.
Yeah, thank you.
CJSR, CKUA, keep locked. CJSR, as mentioned before, Earth Day, April 22nd, they do a thing called the Wetland Projects. It is just a lovely, relaxing day of listening to nature. That's all it is. You're listening to nature.
Slow radio.
It's beautiful. Dave Jameson and I both love it. Can't wait for April 22nd.
Why am I not surprised?
Mark, thanks for coming in.
Hey, thanks for coming.
Murray, have fun. Oh no, I'm seeing you Monday.
Man,
We get you one more. We get you one
the day
more.
before I go.
Well, I'm looking forward to that, and very excited about the extra stuff that you're getting at the Masters. We'll talk a little bit more about that next week. You want to wrap up?
One more great text. Happy Monday Hangout. Sending a shout out to you and your sponsor. Decided to try Finnish Long Drink. Thanks to your show. This stuff is great. Can't wait to sit out on the deck in a hot summer day and a few ice cold long drinks.
We have not enjoyed this throughout the summer. That's going to be a fun thing to enjoy during the summer. Lock Shop coming up, Oil Stream, EST Afternoons, Reed Wilkins Show with Jay Mill. That's all to come here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Mark Rodgers, McCourt, Tom Gazzola, Iwanyk, Brennan the intern on the other side of the camera. Thanks for tuning into The Hangout, presented by Sentinel Storage and your clear choice for Edmonton Sports, Edmonton Sports Talk. As I said, Lock Shop coming up in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Look at this. Let's go.
There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Zola with here, joining us